Georgia seniors, especially fan favorite quarterback Aaron Murray. Welcome to the SEC on ESPN. Tonight, the Bulldogs hosting Kentucky. Can the Dogs put that heartbreak of last week behind them? It's going to be an emotional night for that man. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Georgia alongside my partner, former first-round draft choice out of the University of Georgia, Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Clay Matvick. Don Davenport will be with us shortly. Maybe the game of the year last year in college football. The Hail Mary goes against the Bulldogs Auburn's way. Now, can the Bulldogs get over it?
Drama in that game, lots of disappointment, and then you add the fact this is a final home game for a lot of seniors, so distractions coupled in with that disappointment. Will that be opportunity for a Kentucky Wildcat team trying to get on the board in their SEC schedule?
These Georgia fans really love Aaron Murray. Their last chance to see him here at home tonight.
And you look at what Aaron Murray has been able to do as a quarterback here at the University of Georgia amidst all the injuries in a senior season that he could have foregone and gone to the NFL, instead wanted to return and play for a championship. It was somewhat undone due to undue circumstances and positions around him, and yet was still able to be incredibly productive and will ultimately finish as the most productive passer in SEC history.
Some tears pregame on senior night, standing next to his mom and dad, Lauren and Denny. And maybe he has a big night tonight because Kentucky is going to be shorthanded, especially in the secondary. Eric Dixon suspended for the first half tonight because of a targeting penalty last week. Also, a couple other defensive suspensions. One in the secondary, one up front. Cody Quinn suspended for tonight. Jason Hatcher suspended for tonight because of violation of team rules. And DeMarco Robinson, he is suspended maybe for the rest of the season.
And DeMarco Robinson was a guy that could contribute in special teams as well on the offensive side of the ball. Cody Quinn, though, being out and already a decimated secondary, a young secondary, one that has given Kentucky difficulty throughout the season. You couple that with the fact that you're talking about a quarterback that can sling the ball around better than anybody else in SEC history. That could be a recipe for a pretty big night.
Murray threw for 427 against Kentucky last year. We'll see what happens tonight. For more on Aaron, let's go down to Don Davenport.
Florida native Aaron Murray is not a guy who grew up as a Georgia fan, didn't even really grow up as a college football fan. He liked the NFL, but you would be hard-pressed nowadays to find a guy that is more honored to wear that G on his helmet. We saw it in his pregame senior festivities, the tears rolling down his face. I talked to one of his best friends, tight end, fellow senior, Artie Lynch, who said that on campus, he is a guy that speaks leadership. He said coaches, players, even students on campus look at him. They respect him not only as a player, but really as a person. They said he is one guy who they look to, who they respect. And they said also that there's going to be no better way to send him out, for him to go out, than with a big win here in his final game between the hedges.
And he needs just 108 yards tonight to make it 4 straight 3,000-yard passing seasons. Georgia won the toss and they elected to receive. Joe Mansour, number 88, will kick it off for Kentucky. Sheldon Dawson is back for Georgia. And Georgia last in the SEC in kickoff return yardage this season. Special teams altogether have been poor this year for the Dogs. Dawson will bring it out of the end zone. This is a good return. Across the 25 to the 40. And finally cut down at the 41-yard line. Last week, Aaron Murray had one of his best performances as a Georgia quarterback, leading a 20-point second-half comeback. However, because of the loss, it will be a footnote thanks to that Ricardo Lewis play.
And it was a furious rally by that Georgia offense. Someone that would have been historic were to have ended in victory, but regardless, indicative of the type of competitive spirit that has been personified in the quarterback for Georgia.
First play for Georgia on senior night. It's a play fake. Rolling out is Murray. And he's complete. There is Bennett making his first contribution tonight. Michael Bennett. He has been one of Murray's favorite targets the last couple of years. Gain of 6, second down and 4.
In visiting with Aaron Murray yesterday, he talked about some of these receivers that haven't been available to him in its entirety for this season. Michael Bennett is one of those guys we just have to get the ball close to him, and he catches it every time.
Line up in the slot, 3 receivers to the near side, and Murray wants to pass again on 2nd and 4. He dumps it off short to Todd Gurley, and look at him go. To the 30, to the 20, cuts it back, and he's finally brought down at the 9-yard line. Gurley caught a career-high 10 passes last week against Auburn for 77 yards. This is an aspect of his game which has really picked up.
You know, we knew he's a great ball carrier, but he's emerged as a receiver. A lot of green grass in front of Gurley that time. Excellent job by his offensive lineman getting him clean off the line of scrimmage.
A 44-yard play sets up 1st and goal for the Dogs at the 9. Opening series, Murray wants to throw, takes a shot at the end zone. How about that? Touchdown, Rhett McGowan. Senior to senior with a quick opening scoring salvo.
Clay, you see with the meaning of the play action, it pulls the linebackers, which opens up the window just enough for Murray to squeeze that football in there to Rhett McGowan for this touchdown.
Marshall Morgan on for the extra point. Rhett McGowan walked onto this program. He's had some big catches this year. The Florida game certainly comes to mind. And here he puts Georgia up with a quick 3-play, 59-yard drive in just 1 minute and 4 seconds for Murray and company.
That's about as an efficient a drive as you could possibly have. We talked about at the top, will this Georgia team be distracted? Will it still have a hangover from a very disappointing loss a week ago to an Auburn football team in a rivalry game? And clearly, the coaches were able to get the offense's attention. They get excellent field position to open off the kickoff return, and the offense is able to capitalize on a short field.
Mark Richt, 13th year as Georgia's head coach. SEC title game the last 2 years, not this season. This year has been a disappointment because of injuries, because of out-and-out bad luck. But one thing we're going to see a lot of tonight is emotion on that Georgia sideline. We've already seen some tears, early smiles in this game, as it's 7-0. As Georgia scores quickly here against Kentucky. Now back to return. Javis Blue as Marshall Morgan has it on the tee. Short kick. Blue fields it at the 9. Takes it to the outside, and he's spun out of bounds at the 27-yard line. Kentucky 2-8, 0-6 in conference play, trying to stop a 14-game SEC losing skid. Jalen Whitlow, the 19-year-old sophomore, a very good runner, but he has been inconsistent as Kentucky's quarterback when it comes to passing. Last week he threw 4 interceptions in the loss at Vanderbilt. Mark Stoops is hoping for better things from number 2 tonight.
Well, and visiting with Mark Stoops, and we've seen this team often. Jalen Whitlow and the offense, they've had issues with their confidence. Certainly they need to answer what was a pretty decisive opening scoring drive by Georgia. They've done a good job so far this season with their opening possession.
Whitlow will throw on first down. He's taking a shot deep, has a man, but it's overthrown. Jeff Badette, the true freshman receiver, had a couple of steps on Shaq Wiggins, but Whitlow, like we said before, has been inconsistent with the throwing. He overthrew him by about 5-6 yards.
How about a message sent opening play? Perhaps the idea being to have that threat in the back of the minds of the defenders of the University of Georgia. Certainly their secondary has been a difficult portion of their personnel on the defensive side of the ball this season.
Man in motion, they fake the jet sweep. No, they don't. That is Ryan Timmons who takes it. I get a couple of yards before the SEC's leading tackler Ramik Wilson makes the stop. Let's take a look at the Lee Jeans impact players.
In this ball game, certainly Kentucky, as much as they want to throw the football, they've become a running team. And Ramik Wilson, leading tackler in the SEC, will be charged with corralling Sanders and Whitlow from the quarterback position in the Kentucky run game.
31% on third down is Kentucky. Pressure off the edge. Whitlow trips up and quickly covered up. It's going to bring up fourth down as Garrison Smith, the only senior starter on Georgia's defense gets in and gets credited for the loss of 6 yards.
And Garrison Smith is a guy, one of the seniors here tonight, that's really come on as a pass rusher from his interior line position. This one really was flushed from the stunt. Jordan Jenkins comes in, flushes Whitlow right into Garrison Smith. Georgia has become an excellent pressure team, second only to Missouri in the conference as far as getting after the quarterback.
Landon Foster got it away. Reggie Davis is going to bring it back starting at the 26, runs into trouble, and then he is swallowed up at the 21-yard line. Forward progress is going to give him the 24. It's a 49-yard punt for Landon Foster. It's a lot of work. He leads the SEC in punts. First drive of the game for Aaron Murray, and the Georgia offense was helped out by a great return by Sheldon Dawson.
Sheldon Dawson maybe not bring it out of the end zone, and did. And we touched on it. Todd Gurley, he had a big run right after the catch for a touchdown versus Florida. Hits a screen pass, and then Murray sticks it into Rhett McGowan for 6.
Let's start this one at the 24. Here's McGowan again. Makes a man miss, and he's got the first down. The senior from Calhoun, Georgia. An 11-yard reception. They'll move the chains again. Zadarius Smith finally tracks him down for the tackle.
Excellent blocking out in front. Rantavius Wooten did an excellent job of springing McGowan, giving him just enough time to get his legs underneath him to get upfield.
Big run for Todd Gurley out to midfield. Georgia on their second series, already leading 7-0. We welcome those of you who are watching the Florida State win. They're still on a collision course with Alabama in the national title game. Alongside Matt Stinchcomb, former Georgia All-American. I'm Clay Mathick. We're here for senior night. Final home game in the career of Aaron Murray at Georgia. The fans have come out to honor him. Wearing all black tonight. Todd Gurley straight ahead. Avery Williamson makes the tackle. It's going to bring up second down. Let's take a look at our Lee Jeans impact matchup. Theus and Dupree, Matt.
You know, visiting with the Kentucky coaches, they liked the way their defensive ends matched up with the University of Georgia's offensive tackles. And after last week, you know, they did not deal with the noise very well, but they're in the comfort of confines of their home stadium. Rantavius Wooten has stepped up big as a senior receiver, and Fred Tiller, really the lone constant in the secondary for Kentucky, will be charged with covering him.
Murray to throw. There's Michael Bennett again. And he's got a first down inside the 40-yard line, brought down at the 39. Georgia scored on its opening possession quickly. 3 plays, 59 yards in a minute and 4 seconds. And then Kentucky wasn't able to move football, had to punt. You see the total yards, 96 for Georgia already. And Kentucky having a lot of trouble moving the football in its opening series.
Well, we touched on offense is ready to play tonight. Certainly the defense as well on that opening possession for Kentucky, going nowhere. That's the job penetrating the Kentucky backfield.
Murray has yet to throw an incompletion. He's 5 for 5. I think it's 6 for 6. They're going to give that one to Rantavius Wooten. And at the 34-yard line, a 5-yard pickup. We'll take another look and see if Wooten didn't actually drop this.
Well, Kentucky blitzed Tiller. We just touched on the impact players that Tiller would have been in coverage, but he came in pressure. And that ball, they're going to run a play before they review it. That looked like it touched the turf.
They get a playoff. That one's history. Todd Gurley trying to bounce it to the outside. No real estate. It's going to bring up third down at about 4. As Zadarius Smith has played a pretty good defensive end for Kentucky this year, makes the stop. This is a young, inexperienced defense coming off a pretty good effort against Vanderbilt despite the loss last week. Trying to get off the field here on third down. 3rd and 3 for Georgia. They give it to Todd Gurley. He is so tough to bring down. Maybe the hardest man to bring down in the SEC, and he gets the first down.
Todd Gurley, one of those powerful running backs you're going to find in college football. Right now, Kentucky having a difficult time getting lined up. He's difficult enough to tackle when you know what your assignment is and your alignment is on defense. Kentucky needs to make sure they know where number 3 is and how their run fits need to look if they're going to slow down the Georgia rushing attack.
First down and 10. Murray wants to throw again. That one's going to be incomplete. Intended for J.J. Green, the true freshman running back, out of the backfield. First incompletion for Murray tonight. Georgia had only 6 first-quarter plays last week at Auburn. They had 2 3-and-outs. Georgia has already run 11 offensive plays here in the first quarter tonight.
You know, Clay, we touched on how Kentucky has done a relatively good job defensively in recent games, forcing punts and turnovers early in games, but haven't been able to capitalize. Hasn't been the case so far in this one as Georgia has been able to move the ball.
That's hauled in by Wooten. Rantavius Wooten, a speedy fifth-year senior, had 99 yards and a touchdown last week for Georgia. And when we were talking with the coaching staff last week, they said, no doubt, this has been his best season.
He didn't even play early in the season. Didn't play versus South Carolina. Didn't get on the field versus LSU. But he really emerged in the Tennessee game where Justin Scott Wesley went down, and he is the burner, the deep threat in the Georgia passing game.
10th play of this series, 3rd down and 2. Murray's going to take it himself. Gets down, first down to the 16-yard line. I tell you what, I don't know that there's a tougher quarterback in college football. 52 straight starts would certainly suggest that there isn't.
Well, you got to be tough if you're going to pile up the numbers that Aaron Murray has. He's played 4 years of college football, and he's been in the games. He hasn't missed time. And you could see this team, offensive coordinator Mike Bobo, not scared to call QB design runs with his star quarterback.
Now he's looking to throw. Safety valve is Todd Gurley. He's got room. Dives to the pylon. Touchdown, Georgia. What an athletic leap for Todd Gurley. Eighth rushing touchdown of the year.
Couldn't have called it against a better look. Blake McLean came on an edge blitz. They ran the screen right to where the corner pressure was coming, and Todd Gurley did the rest. The screen game working very well for Georgia tonight. And Todd Gurley once again demonstrating his ability to run after the catch and damage defenses.
Gave him credit for a rushing touchdown, actually a receiving touchdown, the 3rd for Todd Gurley. And Aaron Murray, 8 for 9, 109 yards. So that puts him over 3,000 for the season. His last dog walk. What a 4-year career it's been, trying to go out in style here tonight against Kentucky. And so far, so good.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by 5-Hour Energy. Try the new sour apple flavored extra strength 5-Hour Energy shots in a camouflage bottle. And in part by the Quicksilver card from Capital One. Earn 1.5% cash back on every purchase.
Last game at Sanford Stadium for the best passer, at least statistically, in SEC history, Aaron Murray. His family in attendance here tonight. His mother Lauren, his dad Denny, made the 7-hour drive from Tampa, Florida, as they do for every home game. And he just went over 3,000 passing yards for the 4th season in a row. Only the 3rd player in NCAA history to do that. Timmy Chang from Hawaii and Boise's Kellen Moore also did it.
Mike Bobo, the offensive coordinator at Georgia, said, well, all he really did as a freshman was just kind of run around out there. He had no idea really what was going on. But he certainly grew into the role. It didn't hurt that he was throwing to A.J. Green at receiver.
Now this one's bobbled by Javis Blue. He recovers and gets it to the 20-yard line. Todd Gurley, a 16-yard touchdown reception, making this a 2-touchdown game. Todd Gurley, already one of the toughest runners in the SEC. He is showing he's got great hands, too. What about that athletic move? Welcome back to ESPNU College Football Primetime, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Alongside former Georgia All-American Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Clay Matvick. Don Davenport working the sideline tonight. It's 14-0 Georgia. The story of this game, might expect this on his senior night. Aaron Murray, 2 touchdown drives, already 109 yards passing and 2 TD passes. Jalen Whitlow, he is going to be gobbled up again in the backfield. Ball is loose, and Georgia has recovered. A Kentucky turnover inside the red zone, and Jalen Whitlow may be shaken up to boot.
This game probably couldn't have started any worse for Kentucky. And if Jalen Whitlow is down, it makes a bad start almost unmanageable for a comeback. Garrison Smith, it looks like either Smith or Mays came around and popped that football out. The question is his knee down before the ball comes out? It looks like that ball is like he's losing possession of the ball before that right knee touches the turf. Yeah, the ball to me looks like it's out before his right knee comes down. What's interesting is I think it was Garrison Smith's knee that pops it out. I don't know that it was his other hand, his right hand, that pops the ball out. And his knee caught what looks like Whitlow's hand.
Jordan Jenkins recovered it. And right now it's Georgia football at the 15-yard line if this play is not overturned. Robert Rougeau is our replay official tonight. 25-year veteran official in the SEC. He's taking a look at it. He's seeing the same look that you're seeing at home. Meanwhile, Jalen Whitlow, the starting quarterback for Mark Stoops, is down on his back. Now sitting up. We're going to step aside. We'll check in on Jalen Whitlow when we come back to Athens.
College Football Daily, weekdays at 1 on ESPNU.
It's going to be Georgia football. They already lead it 14-0 here midway through the first quarter, and even worse for Kentucky. Their starting quarterback Jalen Whitlow is injured. He's on the sideline now. Here's another look at what happened on the last play.
See, it was Jordan Jenkins that really beat Darian Miller right off the snap at left tackle to force it right into Garrison Smith. Jalen Whitlow really never got up healthy.
Aaron Murray in the offense going back to work. He punts, now comes underneath to Brendan Douglas. The third-string running back takes it to the 1-yard line. 5'11", 202-pound true freshman out of Augusta, Georgia.
Clay had 2 options right there. That's a senior quarterback checking away from the initial read. They wanted to go to Todd Gurley. I don't know if Murray thought that the ball was going to get tipped. Regardless, he came underneath to Douglas, who really had to assert himself when Gurley and Keith Marshall went down with injuries.
2 fullbacks in the game now, Hicks and Hall. Brendan Douglas is the tailback. Murray fakes the handoff, lobs it to the end zone. Touchdown, Arthur Lynch. Third touchdown pass of the first quarter for Aaron Murray. Nothing Dogs. Kentucky's done a pretty good job protecting the football this year. That was only their 12th turnover of the season, and Georgia hasn't caused a lot of turnovers, but they do here, and it turns to points.
Well, really tonight, it's been the antithesis of what has otherwise been a tough season from a field position standpoint. And right now, roommate to roommate, and a senior quarterback and his family pretty fired up to be able to cheer on their son, younger brother, and what's been a pretty strong start in his final start here at home for Georgia.
Last week, Georgia had 532 yards and 38 points, but still lost. Naturally, the defense was under the microscope after that game, considering how well the offense did. Now here, the defense gets a turnover, and it leads to a Georgia score.
It's been an inconsistent year on the defensive side of the ball. I think everybody anticipated that. Defensive coordinator Todd Grantham knew he lost a lot of talent to the NFL, to graduation. And it was going to take an offense to allow the defense to get its legs underneath itself. The problem is the offense ended up in the training room. And they really had to lean on the quarterback play and some new faces at wide receiver, true freshmen at running back, and expose some of the deficiencies on defense.
Javis Blue fields this one cleanly this time and gets it out close to the 30. Let's go down to Dawn.
Yeah, Clay, trainers still performing tests here on Jalen Whitlow on the sidelines. He suffered what they are calling a stinger. I heard him tell the trainers that he got hit in the helmet. And, you know, he's been battling injuries pretty much all season. He's just been playing through it. But he is sitting here right on the bench right now. He won't be heading out this possession.
Jalen Whitlow, a nagging shoulder and an ankle injury that he has fought through this year. He rotated with this man, Maxwell Smith, early in the season. But Whitlow took over the job mid-year. Now they need Max Smith again.
Well, they lose the run element at quarterback now, which is something that they have felt was necessary for them to be effective offensively.
They'll run it. It's JoJo Kemp, true freshman out of DeLand, Florida. Goes for about a yard. Bring up second down. Maxwell Smith, like you said, Stinch, the pocket passer of the two. He has not played significant time since the loss at Mississippi State October 24th, so he might show a little rust here tonight.
Yeah, and a season ago, he was the guy. When Kentucky had gone to an up-tempo type of an offense, they wanted to get down the field quickly. Neil Brown, the new offensive coordinator under Mark Stoops, he wants to grow into the passing game. But Kentucky has leaned on the ground game, and as we mentioned, because he's a pocket passer, now the receivers are going to have to step up.
There's Javis Blue on the end around. Boy, he is hit from behind and hit hard by Josh Harvey Clemens. There's a guy who probably couldn't sleep well after last week's game. He was involved in that play, the Hail Mary in the Auburn game, but he makes a beautiful play from behind here.
Josh Harvey Clemens had gotten so far upfield, I don't think Javis Blue anticipated getting a shot from his own end zone. And Harvey Clemens, he's a bit of a freak. That's a big guy that could play in a safety position, the star position in the nickel package that University of Georgia uses on the defensive side of the ball.
Now third and long. I'm going to see that arm of Smith for the first time tonight. He steps up and it's batted down. Incomplete, and Kentucky will have to punt again, getting a hand on it at Georgia front. And they've had a 3-and-out, a fumble, and now another 3-and-out. It has been a bad start for the Kentucky offense.
Coming into the game, Clay, we were talking about Leonard Floyd, the defensive front, who's gotten excellent pressure, has really come on for the University of Georgia off the edge, outside linebacker position, basically a defensive end. But so far here tonight, I've seen Jordan Jenkins do a good job getting off the ball.
Landon Foster with his second punt. Reggie Davis has some room to the field. And he gets to the 43-yard line. Good field position for Aaron Murray. And the offense. Aaron Murray. On senior night, already 3 touchdown passes. There is a penalty flag down on that return. First flag of the game, surprisingly.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 2 on the return team. Penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
So they'll start at the 33. Aaron Murray playing in his final home game tonight. What a career it's been for the top dog.
So Aaron Murray getting his first go at it as the starting quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Great college basketball doubleheader tomorrow on the U. First at 4:30, Harvard taking on Colorado. And at 6:30, Jabari Parker. He has been exciting so far in the young basketball season, and the Blue Devils taking on Vermont. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. Duke making news again this week. #1 recruiting class after the early signing period. Already 21-0 Georgia. Under 5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. Rantavius Wooten on the comebacker. Makes the catch, but quickly wrapped up by Avery Williamson. No gain. Aaron Murray already 3 touchdown passes here tonight.
He's made it look easy. His teammates have certainly helped him. A couple of screen passes to his favorite running back in Todd Gurley. Fits his roommate at the tight end position. Really, so far tonight, offensively, Georgia been able to do just about whatever they've wanted.
We'll go to Gurley again. A stiff arm, but he's run out of bounds by Bud Dupree. 2-yard pickup, so it's going to bring up 3rd and fairly long for Aaron Murray and this offense. This series very lopsided in favor of Georgia. However, the last 2 years, this game has been close. Georgia's won both times, but both times Kentucky gave them a rub. So far, it's been no sign of that tonight. Kentucky trying to get off the field here on 3rd down and 8. Georgia 2 for 2 on 3rd down. Murray time to throw, batted down, and Kentucky will get off the field this time on 3rd down.
Certainly, it was timely. Kentucky needed to break serve. The momentum has all been on Georgia's side. Special teams have set them up. A turnover with a short field, but here, Murray has plenty of time to work. It's just Mike Douglas. If you can't get a pass rush, his defensive line coaches say, get your hands up. And Murray trying to throw over the middle, sometimes difficult to find those passing lanes.
Penalty flag. Referee tonight, David Smith.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
We talked about special teams being a trouble spot for Georgia this year. Colin Barber, the regular punter, has had a tough time of it. Adam Erickson is going to kick the first one tonight for Georgia. This is their first punt tonight, and it's not Barber, it's Adam Erickson, the junior out of right here in Athens.
As you noted, Clay, it's been a bit of an adventure for Georgia all season long with their punt team.
It's a pretty good one. Backing off is Javis Blue. It bounces, take a Georgia hop to the 23-yard line, and it'll check up there. Get close to all the action with the new Sports Center app. And it is blazing fast with the score updates. Now has highlights. You can download the new Sports Center app by calling *SC from your phone. Everybody in our production truck was busy with that, keeping an update today on college football, including that Florida game. The Gators get upset today by Georgia Southern. What'd you make of that?
I'll tell you what, Georgia Southern and that option offense gives teams difficulty, but none would have thought it would have worked out that way.
Javis Blue with the catch, gets it to the 30-yard line. They'll bring up 2nd down and short.
No passing yards, I think, in that ball game at all for Georgia Southern. And there's a lot of trouble in Gainesville. You see Trey Matthews, who missed time, played the first 4 ball games. They just came back last week versus Auburn, appears shaken up.
He's had hamstring trouble this season. JoJo Kemp tackled by Chris Mays, whose playing time has really picked up here in recent weeks. It's going to be a gain of 1 for Kemp. 3rd down here and 1.
This is where, Clay, you get the short yardage scenarios. With the Whitlow, you've got the run-pass element. You move the pocket. With no Whitlow, you've got Maxwell Smith. This obvious handoff scenario. You try to plunge for the yard.
Handoff, 1st down, Dyshawn Mobley, and he rips right through the secondary. On his way to the end zone. And he's going to win the foot race. Corey Moore tried to catch him from behind, couldn't do it. It's a 69-yard touchdown run, and Mark Stoops' offense shows its first sign of life tonight.
So there was a little bit of deception. They had a motion man run through the backfield. Forgive that kind of a jet sweep look, a play that gave Georgia difficulty last week versus Auburn. Distracted the linebacker at the second level just enough to open up the run lane for Mobley.
Joe Mansour at the extra point, and it's 21-7. Kentucky here in Athens trying to get its first win in the SEC since the season finale in 2011. Their last win in Athens came in 2009. Could this be a sign that Kentucky's going to wake up? Because for the majority of this first quarter, they have been dominating.
Well, here it is, and you'll see the motion come through the offensive backfield. Watch, the motion man comes all the way through the backfield. The jet sweep was of concern, and it's just enough. Josh Harvey Clemens, number 25, scrapes too far. Herrera gets pinned by Miller. Just left a big gap for Dyshawn Mobley. You get in short yardage scenarios, you get defenses commit to the line of scrimmage, commit to the box. The Georgia defense had to know there was a handoff coming. And I think the jet sweep element was just enough to distract from the downhill handoff. And Mobley, who's a guy that Kentucky has wanted to get more involved, they haven't been able to do it very effectively, is able to make his presence felt and get Kentucky on the scoreboard. So you get a Georgia offense, comes out there, they stub their toe, an incomplete pass on first down, and Kentucky able to take advantage and answer.
Two minutes and 14 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. BCS Countdown presented by Discover Card. Tomorrow at 8:30 on ESPN, then at 9 on ESPNU. Can Baylor win tonight against Oklahoma State and jump Ohio State in the BCS from 4 to 3? A lot of people think so. How about Oregon getting beat today? They had such high hopes at the beginning of the season to be playing in that national title game the last month or so. Not only have the national title hopes been dashed, but maybe the Pac-12 championship dash too.
I mean, part of that is you got a first-year head coach. Maybe wasn't able to make the adjustments needed. Coaches team up when adversity struck. You've seen the Oregon Duck team kind of collapse when they're met with resistance.
The Ducks losing in wet Tucson today, and badly, 42-16. 3 turnovers for the Ducks. And Marcus Mariota, his Heisman chances probably gone now.
You look at it, and absolutely they're dashed, as are their conference aspirations. I think they had a player comment or two that they didn't want to go to the Rose Bowl. That was kind of a been there, done that thing. I think that's something that certainly Mark Helfrich, the head coach at Oregon, would be thrilled to have had an opportunity. Now gone.
There's Brendan Douglas. Gets close to that first down marker. It's going to bring up third down and short. Dyshawn Mobley with his first career touchdown run, getting Kentucky on the board. Aaron Murray already 3 touchdown passes for Georgia here in the quarter on senior night. He's gone over 3,000 yards for the season, 125 through the air already. Wants to throw again, rolling out. And he'll scamper for the first down. Make it bootleg. Picks up the 2 yards necessary. Georgia will move the chains as we're under a minute to go in the quarter.
Yeah, Georgia was in danger of facing yet another 3 and out. Murray able to pick up the yardage needed, maintain the drive. You can see him as he has the play fake to Brendan Douglas. You see Arthur Lynch. He's calling for the ball. He's ringing his roommate's doorbell. You see Murray already saw the yardage needed and just tucked it for the 3 or 4 yards to pick it up.
Away from center. Rips one to the outside. It's caught by Chris Conley. And he's got another Georgia first down. He has been the leading receiver this year for the Dogs. He picks up 12 yards here.
For Aaron Murray, having guys like Chris Conley, Michael Bennett back in the lineup, that's a warm blanket. He's a rep guy. He's a guy that likes to get a rapport. That pass, you have to let it go before the receiver even comes out of his break. You see the rapport that he's been able to develop.
Douglas tackled by Ashley Lowry. It's a gain of 7, and that will be the final play of the first quarter. Aaron Murray, 13 of 15 for 137 and 3 touchdown passes in the opening quarter alone on senior night. Back in Athens, it's 21-7 Dogs.
Matt Chick here with your Dr. Pepper 10 conference update. In the SEC, Vanderbilt already bowl eligible for the 3rd straight year under Coach James Franklin. Jerron Seymour, 4-yard touchdown. They lead at Tennessee 7-0. Clay.
All right, Matt, thanks. Yeah, Tennessee needs to win tonight and next week against Kentucky to be bowl eligible. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt 8-2 in November under James Franklin. What a job he has done with the Commodores. Here in Athens, it's 21-7 as we start the second quarter. Aaron Murray now has the wind behind his back. 2nd down and 3 from midfield. Look at Aaron Murray go. To the 20-yard line. Ashley Lowry finally gets him to the turf, but it's a 29-yard pickup from Aaron Murray, who can't do anything wrong tonight.
It looks like this was a design keeper all the way. He's not reading anything, I don't think. I think you see Arthur Lynch locked up on the edge player. It was Fred Tiller. Similar look to last week, where Murray basically fakes the handoff. It's a QB keep. And once again, you see the offense of Georgia willing to use their quarterback just every way possible. Run game and as a passer.
And around to Antavius Wooten. And he picks his way close to the first down. Lowry again on the tackle. Big one in Stillwater tonight. Number 4 Baylor, number 10 Oklahoma State. Gets underway. And about now on ABC. It is a first down. So 1st and goal for Georgia. Already up 2 touchdowns. And using a lot of Brendan Douglas here in the first half. He's the tailback. And he'll get it. Gets a handful. Williamson makes the tackle in this game. We've got the top 3 tacklers in the SEC. Avery Williamson is number 3 on the list behind Wilson and Herrera for Georgia. They are 1 and 2 respectively. And now Aaron Murray showing signs that maybe he got dinged up on that last play.
I don't know if it was from the run. It looked like he was on the ground after the handoff to Wooten on the reverse. I don't know if Wooten stepped on his foot or what happened. We're certainly not looking to get him injured in this ball game. We haven't seen Todd Gurley either with Brendan Douglas getting the carries.
Maybe at Georgia Tech next week. They certainly want all hands on deck for that. Touchdown pass number 4. Arthur Lynch with his 2nd TD grab here in the first half. Again, senior to senior on senior night. Murray's making it look awful easy.
He's making it look easy, but he's not getting off the field very easily. You see him there. Something's not right. They're certainly working well with the play calling and the execution, but I don't think he's feeling very well.
One of the 4 records that Murray holds. Most career touchdown passes in the SEC. 4 tonight brings it to 121, but you can see he's frustrated, perhaps not completely healthy now as he gets dinged up on this last series against Kentucky. But that drive results in a touchdown pass to Artie Lynch. watching the SEC on ESPN. Georgia, 9-play, 79-yard scoring drive to make it 28-7. Aaron Murray with a 29-yard run on that drive, but he may have hurt himself on the play.
See, it was a design QB keep. Nice nifty little cut. I don't know that it happened on that run. You'd think that it would, though. Certainly, he hasn't done a ton of it. He's done more in the second half of the season.
Javis Blue out to the 27-yard line. Most storied conference in college athletics will live on a new network. Tradition has found a new home, the SEC Network. Launches August of 2014. For more information, go to secnetwork.com. Let's go down to Don. We're having some issues with Don's microphone.
Well, right now, Georgia, we talk about the injury situation. They got a starting safety, Trey Matthews, on one bike. Murray just got off one, and Gurley sitting on the other.
Maxwell Smith out there for his third series as Kentucky's quarterback. Jalen Whitlow got hurt on series number 2. Now Don's microphone is working. Don.
Yeah, hey guys, the word on Gurley is no injury there. It's just a rotation thing. He is on the bike over here. And then with Aaron Murray, no official injury. They say he's fine. I just saw him run up and down the sideline testing out. It looked like a knee that he was testing, but he was on the bike. It looks like he's good to go, so we'll see.
That's good news.
He just jammed his knee. It looked like he went down hard on that knee on the run.
Smith gets it to JoJo Kemp. He's got speed. He turns it upfield. But he's going to be stopped about a yard short of the first down marker. JoJo Kemp, the true freshman, he has a great upside. Touchdowns in 3 of the last 4 Kentucky games. He can run it. He can catch it. Unfortunately, this air raid offense under coordinator Neil Brown lacks a lot of playmakers. He's got a great future, but they need more of those kind of guys.
They need a little bit of time as well to grow into the system, and this type of inconsistency at key positions like quarterback, you see Maxwell Smith in here, has made the development a little bit slower.
Kemp, I don't know that he got it. Maybe the second effort. It's going to depend on the spot. That yellow line is for you at home, but it's not official. That would indicate it is short, and they're going to call for a measurement. Amarlo Herrera, the SEC's second leading tackler, got the stop.
Well, if they end up picking up this first down, it's a pretty impressive effort by JoJo Kemp, because Amarlo Herrera, you mentioned he's a pretty sure tackler, was unblocked and met Kemp in the hole, and Kemp was able to at least make it interesting. This is a fourth down. This is almost an automatic, I think, for Kentucky. We've seen this team throughout the season. They've gone for it 25 times. That's the most in the SEC so far this year. And this coaching staff, Mark Stoops, he'll share with Neil Brown, look, if just pick up enough yardage to make it 4th and interesting, and we'll go for it. I'll be surprised if they don't line up their offense and try to pick up this first.
They're 16 for 25 on 4th down this year. That's 64%. And they are going to keep the offense out there. JoJo Kemp will line up behind Maxwell Smith. Here come the Bulldog faithful. Smith lunges ahead, and he's got the first down. Smith is another guy who has been injury prone for Kentucky. Shoulder nicked up each of the last 2 seasons. He got a medical red shirt after missing most of last year with an ankle injury. He is still just a sophomore eligibility wise, even though he's been in the program for quite a while.
And part of the reason why they moved away from him is the inexperience, the youth. They lost a lot of experience at the receiver position, and to run the offense that they want, has got a lot of reads at the receiver position. So why not run the football with a mobile quarterback in Whitlow?
That was only the 2nd Kentucky first down tonight. JoJo Kemp hit in the backfield, a loss of 2. Let's get an update from Matt in the studio.
Yeah, Clay, in Oxford, a lot on the line for Missouri. Need to win their last 2 games to win the SEC East. James Franklin back in at quarterback in the opening drive. 8 plays, 72 yards. Henry Josie into the end zone. 7-0 Missouri at Ole Miss midway through the first, Clay.
All right, Matt. James Franklin only played 2 series in that game that you and I did at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, and he just handed the ball off. This is his first action since coming back from that injury. Missed a lot of time, but so far it looks like he's not showing any signs of rust. Here's Smith on 2nd down and long, and that throw is low, incomplete. Intended for A.J. Legree, can't come up with it. 3rd down.
You mentioned it, Clay. Matty Mock had to play in relief of James Franklin, who was actually injured playing here at Sanford Stadium. You see backup quarterback step up big. Maxwell Smith trying to fit this ball into a tight window. Like it just skipped off the turf. Legree unable to get his hands underneath it.
I might want to review this.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was an incomplete pass.
So it's going to be in the hands of Robert Rougeau in the replay booth again.
It was the opposite scenario from what we saw with Georgia. Rantavius Wooten seemingly used the turf to make a completion earlier in the game for Georgia. And I tell you what, I think at first it looked like that ball had bounced off the grass. But I'm not sure after looking at it again that it's not Legree's hands that pop it up.
Legree, a sophomore out of Florida, has struggled with drops this season. He has improved as the year has gone on when it comes to that. He may have made a tough catch there. I think you're right. I think he made this grab.
I think it's his hands that pop this ball up. It's hard to see right there. I tell you what, if he is, the backs of his hands are flush on the ground. But I think, and of course the ruling on the field was that it was an incomplete pass. It has to be indisputable video evidence. That's going to be very difficult to tell. I mean, after the luxury of seeing it a couple of times, Clay, the way that ball bounced up, it might have bounced off the heels of his palms.
Now it was ruled incomplete on the field. It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it. And whether they can see evidence to overturn it, we do not know.
You think Mark Stoops is politicking? He's had a rough couple of weeks. You know, we had him 2 weeks ago, had some concerns with how things were going from an officiating standpoint.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands incomplete pass.
It was a bang-bang play.
Yep.
And you could see how the official on the field would have thought that it hit the turf. And we looked at it 3 times before we would have thought that he had his hands underneath it.
Right, we have that luxury.
How long would the game be? Let's look at all
it.
of them 3 times. Let's just make sure.
Well, Kentucky runs a version of the air raid, but it has struggled this year to say the least. 13th in the SEC at 349 yards per game. They have just 80 yards so far here tonight. 3rd and 11. Smith hit as he throws, incomplete. Intended for Jordan Ahmiller, the tight end. Senior can't come up with it. And it'll be 4th down. Quincy Mauger, who is really starting to figure it out in that Georgia secondary. He's a true freshman from Marietta, Georgia, in on the coverage.
And the pressure has been pretty consistent from Georgia up front, able to collapse the pocket that time. Maxwell Smith having to throw with bodies around him. Certainly assists the secondary in defending the pass once the ball's in the air.
Reggie Davis, rookie return man, standing at the 25. Penalty flag, no kick.
Snap infraction, number 59 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
It's Kelly Mason, the snapper. That's the first Kentucky penalty tonight.
You see him there? Wow, I tell you what, if that was a fake snap, he really sold it.
Landon Foster with the kick. Oh, it's muffed. Loose football, and Kentucky has recovered. Special teams continues to be an Achilles heel for Georgia. Kentucky with a short field, 1st and 10 at the Georgia 26.
we've mentioned special teams. There have been issues with getting punts off. This time, Reggie Davis, who's a guy they want to get going. He's one of their speed guys on the roster. I don't know if J.J. Green, he just loses this football. He takes his eyes off of the ball, ends up glancing off of his shoulder pad. And Aaron Murray, I'm sure, looking on, was prepared to take the football field. It's not the first time he's had to turn back to the bench because of a special teams turnover.
Reggie Davis muffs the punt. A.J. Legree recovers. Maxwell Smith on first down, hit from behind and dropped. He got back to the line of scrimmage, so no sack, but Josh Harvey Clemens got to Maxwell Smith, fought around the block, and it brings up second down.
Call that a coverage sack if you like, because Maxwell Smith, you see Josh Harvey Clemens running the yard, Darian Miller. Maxwell Smith still has the football in his hands. You could tell that he could feel the clock winding down, but not before Clemens could get the sack.
Kent right into the teeth of the Georgia front. Just a yard, so third and long as Rameek Wilson and Amarlo Herrera combine on a stop. They have done that a lot this year.
The third and long has been really the heel of this Kentucky offense. They're not able to pick up a lot of first downs, converting only 30%. One of the worst teams in the country at that, but part of it is because of the yardage to go. 7.5 yards to go. Makes it difficult.
It's third and long here. They're 1 of 5 tonight. Play clock to 3. Smith, complete. First down. Javis Blue, as he is marked out near the 10-yard line. A 14-yard pickup for Blue and a first down for Kentucky.
We talk about the difficulties Kentucky has had. Georgia just as difficult getting off the football field, and third and long has been the challenge for them as well. They do well on first and second and then let teams out of the gate.
Javis Blue is really their only receiving weapon in this game now with DeMarco Robinson out. He's been suspended maybe for the remainder of the year. First and 10. Kent. Good pursuit. Josh Harvey Clemens again making a great play on defense.
That's what Todd Grantham is talking about, Josh Harvey Clemens. That's 6'5", 210 pounds, playing in the secondary. Guy you can bring off the edge, you can play him in the box, and that kind of flexibility can be a nightmare from a personnel standpoint when you're trying to match up, see what you're capable of doing offensively. Harvey Clemens is as versatile as a star player, that nickel position, as you can find.
Now Kentucky wants to talk this over. First time out of the first half for either team. Second down and 11 for Kentucky when we come back.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by the Discover It card. It's a game changer.
Widespread panic. The B-52s and REM, all part of the Athens music scene at one time. Zach Brown Band, also part of the Athens music scene. That's more my kind of music anyway.
He's from down the road. He's from Lake Oconee. Yeah, I guess Athens could still try to claim him.
After the timeout, Kentucky second down and 11. We got a short field thanks to the mucked Georgia punt. Smith tipped, incomplete. That was batted down, intended for Jonathan George out of the backfield. So now third down and 11 as this Georgia front has done a good job getting hands up and knocking down passes. Rameek Wilson, we think, got a hand on this one. And yes, it was Wilson.
Well, if he doesn't, it's 6 because Kentucky snuck Jonathan George out of the backfield and he was unaccounted for. Corey Moore, the safety, was not going to get there in time. Rameek Wilson, pretty heady play to get his hand on the ball.
Sanders makes the catch, quickly run out of bounds, well short of where they needed to get for a first down. Did they go for it here, or did they bring out the field goal unit?
They're getting their points. Now that they worked their way down, Mark Stoops wants to take the opportunity to get the points on the scoreboard. You convert the fourth down, you get a big third down conversion. Why not give a good kicker an opportunity?
And Joe Mansour just one miss on his field goal attempts this year. 11 of 12 along of 45. This is a chip shot from 24. Out of the hold of Jared Leet. And Kentucky gets 3. So the Georgia defense, even though Todd Grantham's unit had to defend a short field, keeps Kentucky out of the end zone.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Clay Matvick, former Georgia Bulldog, Matt Stinchcomb, and Don Davenport back here in Athens. There's A.J. Green. What a great receiver he was here in Athens before turning pro.
He was catching some of these record-setting passes from Aaron Murray in his final season as a Georgia Bulldog. He'll certainly have been able to continue his exploits into the NFL now.
That starting field position for the Georgia offense this year, 105th in the FBS, and that's in large part due to the inefficiency of Georgia's special teams, especially in the return game. Short kick fielded at the 23 by one of the up men, and out to the 30-yard line. Karampolis hits it back for Georgia, and Aaron Murray still appears a little tender as he comes off the sideline.
You see that? He's got a knee brace on. That's a new addition to the ensemble. Wasn't on before. You see no knee brace here on the QB keeper as he scampered downfield, and I wonder, when we went down, we were speculating. You see the brace. That wasn't there. Those socks are not made by Mueller.
He's been good through the air, just 2 incompletions so far. Complete here to Michael Bennett, the junior out of Alpharetta, Georgia. Missed games each of the last 2 years because of knee injuries in his own right. Gets 3 here for 2nd down and 7. Kentucky, the field goal moments ago to make it 28-10. Four touchdown passes for Murray in this game. He'll hand off to Todd Gurley. Makes something out of nothing. And he is a beast. Mark Stoops said, I would not want to tackle that man.
Well, a lot have tried. And if you do it, you better bring a friend. Avery Williamson, one of the better tacklers in the SEC, runs through his tackle, and just about the rest of the other defense attempting to bring Todd Gurley down. This is not a finesse runner in number 3. That guy's built for power and speed, and he's got both in spades.
That was an 11-yard pickup. Should have been little or no gain. Murray to throw. That's a first down catch. Chris Connolly hauls it in to the 40-yard line of Kentucky, and another guy who caught a lot of passes in his Georgia days, A.J. Green, is with Don.
Yeah, you got a chance to play with Aaron Murray. What makes him so special?
I think it's just his leadership, the way he prepared on and off the field. And that's the key to being a great quarterback at this level and the next level.
You talk about the next level. You're there. Can Aaron Murray perform well there?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. I feel like he's going to be first round. I had a privilege to play with him for 1 year, and, he's grown as a player and a man. So I think he's going to be fine.
All right, A.J. calling him a first-round pick, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Don, thank you very much. 1st and 10 from the Kentucky 40. Murray going up top, and it's complete to Rantavius Wooten. Those are not boos. That is Woo. For Rantavius Wooten, the senior out of Belle Glade, and Murray, a little gimpy still, but a 32-yard pass.
I'll tell you what, they actually sent Hudson Mason out onto the field. He made it out to the numbers, and Murray waved him off, saying that he's all right. He can finish this drive at least. That ball was just a little bit underthrown. It's still on the mark certainly well enough for Wooten to haul it in. That post pattern, one that he hit to Wooten last week versus Auburn. He's spreading the ball around, though, and you can see that's been the hallmark of his play all season. 9 different guys with 10+ catches on the year.
First down and goal for Georgia, and we got a timeout. You heard A.J. Green saying he's a first-rounder. And one of the knocks on Murray is he's not big enough to be an effective NFL quarterback. What do you think?
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was a completed pass.
Not sure what they're going to look at here. Whether he was juggling it, perhaps. Anyway, the Wooten completion to the 9-yard line is now under review.
Yeah, I don't know what there is to see unless there's yeah, you see it there as he goes down. You know, if it weren't for the injury to Murray, you know, they jump the ball and run a play much like they did to Wooten earlier. It's the second time where his completion's been contested. And, you know, you think about with Murray and his skill set, you know, going back to that, this ball was placed on target. Now, whether Wooten completes the catch, that's up to the receiver. But you talk to a guy like an A.J. Green, one of the top receivers in the NFL. He plays with an excellent quarterback in Andy Dalton, a guy that some people question, you know, how will he translate, even though he was taken high in the draft, you know, second-round guy. And you look at an Aaron Murray, and you talk to the coaches, and we asked him even yesterday, what makes you different? Well, what is it about you as a quarterback that makes you different? And they talked about preparation. And the guy gets done, and he embraces the grind that it takes to prepare as a quarterback. And when you look at everything that's changed around him, that preparation has really paid off. This year is only the first time he's ever had the same guys in the backfield with him. It's been a rotating, almost like a revolving door at tailback. And you've seen receivers emerge and fall. Malcolm Mitchell was taken away from him to play defense a couple seasons ago. They lost him early this season. And yet he's been the kind of eye of the storm offensively.
Let's go down to Dawn.
Yeah, you guys, were talking about his preparation. A.J. Green said even back in the day when he was a young kid, he would be in the film room after a game on Saturday, watching film and learning and going through things just all the time. Mark Rigg told us that he's a 365-day quarterback, review, always trying to be better.
The receiver did not maintain possession to the ground. The pass is incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10 on the 40-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 4 minutes, 43 seconds.
So that's a difference of 31 yards since this play is overturned.
I'll tell you what, you see Aaron Murray, and after that pass was completed, moving a little bit slow, and I think that granted just enough time for the officials to take another hard look at it. You know, as we mentioned, though, there was a completion earlier in this game that because they jumped the football, they were able to maintain it as a completion. I think otherwise could have been overturned.
So now 2nd and 10 on the Kentucky 40. And we're keeping an eye on Aaron Murray's knee as he goes under center. David Andrews.
You see Murray, this is something that he does, redirecting the offense, checking to the right play.
Gives it to Todd Gurley. And he's got the first down and more. Ball comes out, but they're going to root Gurley down at the 25. Jaleel Heitch makes the tackle in the Kentucky secondary, but it's a 15-yard pickup and a Georgia first down.
Watch Merritt Hall, number 43, meet Avery Williamson. See the lead blocker there, Todd Gurley, able to get downhill through the line of scrimmage cleanly. This was a play that Georgia had a lot of success with last week versus Auburn.
Michael Bennett threw a nice block downfield, too. On first down, it's Gurley again. Makes the catch. He'll pick up 4 to the 20. Todd Gurley, he and Keith Marshall both back next year. Marshall, by the way, surgery last week on his right knee. How good is this Georgia backfield going to be in 2014 again?
It'll be pretty remarkable, and it starts with a guy that really was in the shadow of Keith Marshall. You know, Todd Gurley, people were talking about him, but they weren't talking about him like a lot of other backs. And yet he has emerged to me as the preeminent ball carrier in college football, certainly when he's healthy.
They fake the handoff to him. Murray wants to throw over the middle, and it's complete to Rhett McGowan, still on his feet, churning. It's going to take 3 or 4 Wildcats to finally bring him down. McGowan, who had a touchdown catch in the first quarter, hauls this one in for 15. First and goal, Dogs.
You see McGowan lined up just to the top of your screen, the play fake. He buys the linebackers, and McGowan just works all the way across the ball. You see Murray able to set his feet and insert it. McGowan actually bowed his route back towards the line of scrimmage to give him just enough room underneath the safety.
Murray steps up, and he's sacked. First sack tonight for the Kentucky defense. It's Dante Rump, the senior defensive tackle, regular on that Kentucky front the last 4 years. It's going to be second and goal.
We talk about Gurley as a ball carrier. Oh, work on the blocking, the cut block. It was a full slide protection, all the offensive linemen. And then left Rump. And that's a sizable assignment for any running back. We talk about Gurley's a big guy and all, but he's not Dante Rump big. That's 6'3", 320.
Ninth play of this drive for Georgia after the 3-yard loss. Blitz coming. Murray gets rid of it to the end zone, and behind Wooten, incomplete. So third down and goal, and we'll see what Mike Bobo draws up here.
You know, Georgia's done a great job all season getting into the red zone. Really only Texas A&M has been in this area more. At 53 trips so far this year. With Murray having difficulty, I think, with his leg. We saw earlier where he was able to do a run-pass option. They moved the pocket. I think certainly here he stays in the pocket. Opportunity here at the top of the screen with Wooten again.
Tipped and intercepted. Khalid Henderson intercepts the tip ball, and that is the second Georgia turnover, and Murray is slow to get up for the second time tonight.
We talked about how hot this game started for Aaron Murray. He showed his family celebrating. This is not what it's supposed to look like, certainly the way they would have had it scripted. And he is going straight to the locker room after that last play.
As his family looks on.
He's putting virtually no weight on that left knee. And it was Darius Smith, it looked like, I think, that ended up getting to Murray as he released the football and was able to sling him to the ground.
Kentucky takes over. Dyshawn Mobley, a touchdown run earlier tonight, picks up 3 as Aaron Murray is being helped to the Georgia locker room.
You can see there Smith, and I think it torqued his left knee. It wasn't necessarily, I think, Murray going to the ground. You see how Smith slung him around, and I think his left knee, his foot, was still planted in the turf right there, and it tweaked it as he went down. And was already a little bit injured.
We've seen Aaron Murray get off the turf so many times in his career, but maybe he will not be able to come back tonight. Dyshawn Mobley, give him a yard. I talked to Mike Bobo this week, the 39-year-old offensive coordinator for Georgia. He's coached some really good quarterbacks. He said that Aaron Murray has been the only player on offense to take every single snap in every single practice, despite whether he's been hurt or not. Georgia's calling a timeout here, 3rd and 5 for Kentucky when we come back.
I'm Matt Schick. Coming up at halftime, an upset in the SEC unlike they've ever seen in Gainesville. We've already seen a top 5 team go down today, throwing the Pac-12 North race for a loop. And the Big Ten championship game is all set. Jason Sehorn, Charles Arbuckle, and me at half.
All right, Matt, we'll see you guys in a little bit. 3rd down and 5 for Kentucky at their own 11. Georgia coming off their own timeout, making plans for when they can get the ball back. I'm hoping that it's soon here. Trying to get off the field on 3rd down, and Kentucky has been brutal on 3rd down tonight. 2 for 7.
You see Maxwell Smith trying to change the plays. It gets louder.
Smith dropped. Sacked at the 9. Rameek Wilson.
All night, Clay. The Georgia defense has done a good job collapsing the pocket. Rameek Wilson comes from his linebacker position, and you can see him. He's kind of spying right here, and there's nowhere to go. The pressure had already collapsed the pocket and flushed Maxwell Smith up right into Rameek Wilson's arms. Once again, 3rd downs being the undoing of any of these Kentucky drives. Now, they were able to convert a 3rd down earlier. The big 3rd down run by Dyshawn Moley that went all the way to the house. But otherwise, the hallmark has been an ineptitude on the 3rd down.
Georgia has been awful on special teams this year. A muff punt here in the 2nd quarter that led to 3 Kentucky points. Archie Davis, let's see if he comes out to field this Kentucky punt. Meanwhile, we're going to get our first look. Georgia backup Hudson Mason, as Aaron Murray went out of the game moments ago with this injury after being dropped by Za'Darius Smith. It appears that he either tweaked his left ankle or injured his left knee.
Either whatever it is, that lower body injury, and you could see him as he was helped off the football field. Absolutely no pressure being placed on that left foot.
Landon Foster gets the kick away. It's not a very good one. It bounces at the 45-yard line, but takes a nice Kentucky roll. And the Georgia Bulldogs will have it at the 43-yard line. You can see the injuries that they've had on offense this season. 4 guys out for the season. Todd Gurley missed 3.5 games, which didn't help them. That Tennessee game was really the turning point of Georgia's year.
And you could see things somewhat unraveling at that point. Keith Marshall goes down. Todd Gurley missed time versus Clemson. He went out versus LSU. And Marshall is playing the following week versus the Volunteers. He goes out. And that forced a couple of true freshmen into the lineup, Brendan Douglas and J.J. Green. But they haven't seen a lot in meaningful snaps anyway from Hudson Mason at quarterback, but they will here tonight.
His pass of the night for Hudson Mason. Caught by Lynch. Give him 8 to the 48-yard line of Kentucky. Mason, 2 games this year, North Texas and Appalachian State, and he played well in both.
Well, Mike Bobo said with us yesterday, his teammates feel like he can operate the offense well, and this is in the 2-minute drill.
First down to McGowan, and he's out of bounds to stop the clock with 38 seconds to go. Aaron Murray on senior night, injured in the Georgia locker room. And this is junior Hudson Mason out of Marietta, Georgia, the projected starter for the Bulldogs next year. All day to throw to the sideline. Man wide open, and it's McGowan again. He is hit hard by Ashley Lowry, but it's a big pickup inside the 25-yard line. A gain of 20 for McGowan.
That might have cleaned McGowan's clock a little bit, but he's sure-handed enough. Knew he was going to take a shot and was still able to complete the pass.
First down at the 24. Mason flushed, directing traffic. Oh, it's tipped. And that's going to be incomplete. Tipped by Fred Tiller, the corner. Second down at 10. Clock stops. with 21 seconds to go. Already in field goal range of Marshall Morgan, who has a big leg for the Georgia Bulldogs. He's got a long of 56 this year. He hit that at Tennessee.
You could see with Hudson Mason when he gets in this game, you know, of all the circumstances to be a fast-moving scenario, and he's able to move the offense down the field.
Mason dumps it off to Gurley. Now he'll do the rest. First down, touchdown. Second touchdown catch for Todd Gurley tonight. Morgan bangs home the extra point. It's 35-10 Georgia. Hudson Mason on in relief of Aaron Murray. This is smart. I would do this too if I were put in that situation. Get it to Todd Gurley. He's hard to tackle. It's a 5-play, 57-yard drive in under a minute for the Dogs. You're watching the SEC on ESPN from Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia. All Bulldogs just ahead of halftime, 35-10, alongside Matt Stinchko. I'm Clay Mathick. Don Davenport down on the field. There's Todd Gurley, just took it into the end zone, his second TD reception tonight. Georgia cannot win the SEC East for the third straight year. We know that, but they feel they still have a lot to play for. They want to take care of Kentucky here tonight, then Georgia Tech next week, and get to a January bowl game. Let's take a look back at that drive, a tire rack drive recap. And Mason comes in and looks real good.
Well, he was able to keep some plays alive. I think he wanted to be smart with the football, delivers it on time and on target, and then hits it to his playmaker out of the backfield, and Todd Gurley. And you mentioned it, why not? You know, if you can't hand it off to the guy, get it to him in the passing game.
All passing yards on that Georgia touchdown drive, 57 yards all through the air. 10 seconds to work with here for Kentucky. Jalen Whitlow started the game. Maxwell Smith on in relief of an injured Whitlow, and that's going to do it for the half. Kentucky just runs it up ahead with JoJo Kemp. And Mark Richt's team has a 35-10 lead at the half. Kentucky will have the football to start the second half as we go down to Dawn.
Coach, Aaron Murray helped off the field. What do you know about your quarterback's injury?
I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. I know his back was bothering him, but I think this might have been something to do with his knee.
Mason steps right in, leads him on his touchdown drive. How would you assess what he's been able to do so far?
You know, Hudson's a really good player, and he's been ready to play for about 2 or 3 years, but he's playing behind Murray, so it's been tough on him. And but he's so far doing a great job.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Clay.
Aaron Murray, 183 yards passing. As you see, JoJo Kemp, the true freshman running back for the Wildcats, being helped off the field by his teammates. So perhaps an injury to JoJo Kemp that will keep him from returning in this game. That did not look pretty.
You could see it when he first took this shot, and it was a nasty one. He came in. That's a clean tackle, keep in mind. But it certainly was low, and that looks like another knee injury.
Aaron Murray, 4 touchdown passes in this first half on senior night, but can he return? We'll have to find out in the second half. Now for the halftime report, we go to Matt.
Thank you, Clay. 35-10, Georgia with the halftime lead on Kentucky. Matt Schick, Jason Sehorn, Charles Arbuckle. Georgia Bulldogs have been dropping like flies all season, and Aaron Murray had, up until now, been avoiding that injury bug, Charles.
Yeah, he had been playing a great game today as well and had an opportunity to really finish off the year good. I hate to see that for Aaron Murray. He's been one of those guys that has played well, even in spite of the injuries that he's had, and let's just hope he's okay for at least the second half of the rest of the season.
Murray, with those 4 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns away from tying Tim Tebow's mark for the SEC record for most touchdowns responsible for. They could use a guy like Tim Tebow back in Florida. He used to play there, reportedly. Florida taking on Georgia Southern today. Will Muschamp, well, he's got his AD has his back. This was 10 days ago. As athletic director, I'm 1,000% convinced Will Muschamp is the guy to lead this football program. Nothing has changed in what we feel about Muschamp. Well, what do you think's changed now? It's 3-0 here. Skyler Morningweg, the redshirt freshman. A lot of injuries there as well. Touchdown to Solomon Patton and Kevin Ellison. Georgia Southern ran all over them today, Charles.
Well, they didn't throw the ball. They didn't complete any passes. They just ran the football on this Florida defense.
And Ellison dives in. Another touchdown. It's 14-10 Georgia Southern. And now it's worse than that. It's William Banks. They miss an extra point. It's 20-10. 20-13. 6 minutes to go. Morningweg to Solomon Patton for the touchdown. We have some life, Jason.
A little bit of life, you know. But when you look at this football team, what you see is a little bit of a deflated atmosphere. They realize there's not much to play. So play 4, I should say. So when you have a team like Georgia Southern who comes in with everything in the world to play against the big dog like Florida, look out.
And then 14 seconds to go. It's 3rd and 3. Morningweg's pass to Quentin Dunbar. Incomplete. And now it's 4th down. You're going to lose to an FCS team on the home field? Yes, you will. Their first loss to a current FCS team since 1946, locking up their first losing season since 1979, Jason.
Yeah, it's just one of those situations where when it's going downhill, it just speeds up.
Texas A&M and LSU in the SEC West not playing for any division supremacy, but perhaps Manziel's last trip to Death Valley. Last season against LSU, the Tigers had his number, Charles.
Yeah, they did. They did a very good job of containing him. They had lost a lot of those defenders that were involved in that, but they were still able to execute today.
Manziel under pressure. Showed a lot of that 3-man front last season. Didn't do that early on this one.
Also, what they did, you see the rush-ins, they come up and they stop. Even if they got by them, they said they would squeeze and then chase and make sure they got after them.
They're in chase mode now, at least A&M is. There's Terrence McGee.
Yeah, we all know what Texas A&M's defensive effort has been like this season. So you didn't think LSU was going to have any trouble scoring.
He would score a couple of plays later. LSU up 7-0. It's 14-3 late second. Mettenberger to Jarvis Landry touchdown. Speaking of that defense, they were up 21-10 at the half. Then Manziel, another tough day against this Tiger D, Charles.
They just know how to play him. Chavis and that group, they understand that if we stay in front of them and make them make bad decisions like this helps our ball club.
It was ruled incomplete, but they overruled it. After looking at it, that's a pick. That's another one. Craig Lawson the pick. And Manziel, 16 of 41, 224, touchdown, 2 picks, sacked twice, Jason.
Yeah, that was not his Heisman moment.
He needed something there, perhaps a door opening there, and maybe LSU slammed that shut. Sticking in the SEC. How about in the East? It's Missouri and Ole Miss. James Franklin back in at quarterback. His first start after missing 4 straight starts. There's Henry Josie into the end zone. It's 10-0 Missouri. They need to win this game and then beat A&M next week to lock up the SEC East crown. Look around the SEC. There's Bama doing it again, Charles.
Well, Bama just keeps getting better. It's against Chattanooga, so they really were playing themselves. But those are the kind of games you want to have where you get things going in your direction.
While Florida State continues to roll toward a likely BCS title game appearance, the focus continues to be off the field with the sexual assault investigation involving quarterback Jameis Winston. We do not know if Winston will be charged, but if he is, it likely will not happen by Thursday. State Attorney Willie Meggs saying they still have not gotten everything they need and doubts a decision will be made before Thanksgiving. That, of course, the backdrop to today's game against an Idaho team that was around a 57-point underdog here. And Jameis Winston trying to put distractions aside. Look clear-headed here. Kelvin Benjamin, Jason.
Idaho will help clear your distraction levels.
You think so?
On defense today, yes.
The pictures would indicate you are accurate.
It feels like you're almost
statistics.
It's almost like you're practicing 7-on-7, going against air in some cases today.
It was Kenny Shaw again. Florida State up 42-7. Kind of an SEC type schedule here. Late in the year, go out of conference against a cupcake, and Winston to Benjamin. Winston hit on the play, would not play another down. Didn't need to. 80. School record for points there. Coming up, the Pac-12 North race taking shape, and a surprise team now back in the driver's seat.
Welcome back to ESPNU College Football, presented by 5 Hour Energy. You're watching the SEC on ESPN from Athens, Georgia. Good news for the Bulldogs. It's a 25-point lead as they start the third quarter against Kentucky. The bad news, Georgia quarterback Aaron Murray, in his last home game of his career, 183 yards and 4 TD passes in the first half, but helped off the field after he threw his only interception of the half. He was taken down hard and then taken to the Georgia locker room.
And we'd seen Murray on a QB run earlier. He went to the sideline, came back with a knee brace. Hudson Mason came back in and ran the 2-minute drill a little bit. About a minute left in the half, and was able to operate the offense very effectively. That was something that the Georgia coaching staff had shared with us yesterday, was that they had complete confidence in the backup to Aaron Murray, despite the fact that there's been hardly any meaningful reps to be had because of the durability that Aaron Murray has demonstrated throughout his career. You know, beyond just his capabilities and his skill set, one of the things that stood out the most about Aaron Murray and what allowed him to compile the numbers that he did was the fact that he was so incredibly tough that he didn't miss time. He didn't miss practice time. And it's somewhat ironic that here it is in senior night after his 52nd start.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Kentucky will start with the football. Marshall Morgan to kick it off. Javis Blue and Guyshawn Mobley are back deep for the Wildcats, and it's going to go into the end zone. It's a touchback. Here's a look at our first half stats, brought to you by John Deere. And most of these offensive numbers are with Aaron Murray in at quarterback. Again, got hurt late in the first half. Kentucky, meanwhile, they've also had injuries in the first half. Jalen Whitlow, their starting quarterback, played 2 series before getting hurt and turning it over to Maxwell Smith. Only 3 first downs for the Wildcats. And JoJo Kemp, right at the end of the first half, Matt, was helped off the field by his Kentucky teammates.
Took a low shot, looked like it was Leonard Floyd. It's already here tonight. Key positions for both offenses, replacing their quarterbacks. Certainly JoJo Kemp at the running back position for Kentucky.
Fumble. Ryan Timmons has to scamper back for it inside the 10-yard line. An end around goes bad. And Kentucky now backed up all the way to their 6-yard line.
You see the fakes it. Quick little screen pass. He's going to sling it out. See if he can get linebackers to bite the opposite direction. It just wasn't a clean exchange. That's why you see a lot of teams now use that little tap pass, because if it goes down, it's an incompletion.
That's a loss of 18. They mark it at the 7, 2nd and 28. Smith steps up. Ball comes out at the end, and it looks like Kentucky has recovered. Georgia says they have it. And Kentucky will have it 3rd down.
Well, once again, Clay, I've given the defensive front for Georgia some credit, but there have been some coverage sacks here tonight. They only bring 4 to pressure Smith. Good job by Ray Drew and others getting upfield. That ball does certainly come out. Maxwell Smith's trying to cover it up and secure the football. Josh Harvey Clemens unable to get it away. Kentucky able to maintain possession.
Here's David Smith, our referee.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was a fumble.
Kevin Mitchell, the right guard for Kentucky, appeared to recover it. Now they're going to take a look at it upstairs and see if he did recover it or if this is going to be Georgia football.
Last week, Georgia certainly seemed to dispute a fumble ruling versus Auburn. They felt as if they had recovered it. You see there Smith. And I wonder if they're saying if Smith's knee was down before the ball. It certainly wasn't. That's definitely a fumble. I don't think there's any question that the ball's out.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a fumble, but was recovered by Kentucky.
For more on Aaron Murray, let's go down to Dawn.
Guys, we just got the official word from Georgia. They said it is a left knee. He is out of the game. He is still inside of that locker room. He has not come back out. And watching him, before that possession that injury happened, he was favoring that left knee. You could see it bothered him before he went out there.
All right, good work, Don. Thank you. Lauren and Denny, Aaron's parents, also have not come back out. No doubt they're with Aaron right now. He is done for the night. Kentucky's going to have to punt. Raymond Sanders, the running back, gets back to the 11. Leonard Floyd, the outside linebacker, number 84, makes the tackle.
Leonard Floyd, this guy's a future star. He is stand up at his defensive end. He's running a stunt. He diagnoses the screen. A guy that big and long shouldn't move that quickly. He's kind of cut from a similar cloth as Josh Harvey Clemens. They don't build him like that very often.
You can play that linebacker spot and play off the edge at the defensive end. Georgia got a piece of it. Kentucky gets the benefit of a good roll out close to the 40-yard line, but Landon Foster either didn't get a clean punt off or it was partially blocked. Just a 28-yard kick for Foster.
I think this one's partially blocked. Right there, hand gets on it, left hand. The pressure. Of course, there's no roughing the kicker once it's been touched, once it's been blocked. So you see special teams for both squads. This was an issue for Kentucky a couple of weeks ago versus Missouri. Now Georgia the beneficiary of a special teams miscue.
Hudson Mason, a touchdown drive on his first series. He'll start the second half in trouble, gets it away, lands incomplete. Alvin Bud Dupree was up in Mason's grill. They'll bring up second down and 10. And now you got to wonder too, Matt, that streak of 52 straight starts for Aaron Murray, whether Murray's going to be able to get back in the saddle next week at Georgia Tech. It could be that streak comes to an end next week.
I would be surprised if 52 is what he ends with, at least from a regular season standpoint. Of course, Georgia's bowl season, they are eligible for the postseason season already.
Todd Gurley, first down carry to the 27-yard line. A rip of 12 for Gurley.
Great job by Chris Burnett, his right guard, another senior. Good job leading him up into the hole. And Ashley Lowry, very slow to get up. We talked about how difficult it is to tackle Todd Gurley. It's dangerous to tackle Todd Gurley sometimes. You see Ashley Lowry being attended to on the field.
Sometimes you don't get up when you go head-to-head with Todd Gurley. Ashley Lowry, the starting safety for Kentucky, after trying to tackle Todd Gurley, left the field.
I think that's a stinger. You see him, he pops up, but see his head. His head catches the left knee of Todd Gurley. That's a 230-pound knee slamming into your head, and I think he got a stinger down that left arm.
Hudson Mason running the offense now for Georgia. The quarterback sets, throws, and throws a strike. I think that's going to be a first down for the Bulldogs. It is, and there's Rhett McGowan, who's been getting a lot of work tonight. That's an 11-yard pickup. We saw Todd Gurley nail Auburn's Robinson Therese last week. There were a lot of people that were impressed as he ran through one of the hardest hitters in the SEC last week.
Yeah, he's as physical a runner as you're going to find. And the other thing is that once he runs through your attempted tackle, he proves to be pretty difficult to catch. And he's not, guys, not a very nifty runner. He's a power runner.
And he's got finesse, too. There's that power, though, that you're alluding to at the very end. Nearly gets into the end zone. That's a gain of 15 yards. First down goal to go for the Dogs.
It just comes down to whether or not you can tackle this guy one-on-one. The answer is, of course, no. You better pack a lunch if he's in the vicinity.
Touchdown, Georgia.
Touchdown, Georgia.
Mason takes it in. Capping a 5-play, 39-yard drive in 1 minute and 23 seconds.
Nice surge by the offensive front. All you got to do is find a little bit of a crease. And Hudson Mason, that's 2 drives now. One somewhat under duress, having to come in relief of the starter in Murray. And he was able to operate that 2-minute drill to perfection, ending in a touchdown.
Georgia's offense got a short field. They started the series at the 39 thanks to that punt block on special teams. It's 42-10. Georgia now with their backup quarterback in there.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops Santa's Wonderland. Time passes. Hold on to Christmas.
Georgia with a 42-10 lead with just over 11 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Alongside Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Clay Matvick. Don Davenport down on the field. Aaron Murray, one of 28 seniors, playing his last home game here at Georgia tonight. One of the most beloved Bulldogs of all time, though, left late in the first half with an apparent knee injury. He is done for the night. Hudson Mason as quarterback the last 2 Georgia series, both resulting in touchdowns. Travis Blue on the return for Kentucky. Out to the 30-yard line. Let's go to the studio for an update with Matt.
Thank you, Clay. Time for our AT&T All-America Player of the Week. Andre Williams, 32 carries, 263 yards on the ground for Boston College with a couple of touchdowns, becoming the 16th player to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. His 3rd straight game of 200 or more rushing yards. To vote, visit ESPNAllamerica.com.
All right, Matt. Kentucky will start this series at the 30. Maxwell Smith, sophomore quarterback, did not start tonight. Jalen Whitlow got hurt on the second series. Ball's loose. Another Kentucky fumble. And it's Georgia's got it. Josh Harvey-Clemens has recovered it. Second turnover for the Wildcats. A late indication, but it is Georgia's ball.
Well, that's something that this defense hasn't been able to do much of this year. It looks like Rameek Wilson's the one that secured the tackle, and Josh Harvey-Clemens just saw the opportunity to reach in there and rake the football out. You see him, he's got his hand on it, and he just flips the football out and then has the awareness to jump on that fumble. And already 2 turnovers created tonight by this defense. Something they haven't really been able to do all season long.
And remember last week he was one of the defensive backs involved in that Ricardo Lewis play, which Georgia's done a pretty good job putting in the rearview mirror tonight. Man wide open. That's Lynch. Arthur Lynch inside the 10-yard line. The tight end has been busy tonight. He's got a couple of touchdown catches. But Hudson Mason, just like Aaron Murray, really likes throwing to this tight end.
Some nifty ball handling as well. They faked the fly sweep to Chris Conley. And once again, Lynch able to get behind the coverage of McClain.
On first and goal, it's J.J. Green sashaying into the end zone. It's another Georgia touchdown. 2 plays, 26 seconds. Again, the Dogs take advantage of the short field.
Well, we touched on it earlier, Clay, when we talked about the field position that this offense has had to deal with throughout the season. Part of that has been a function of special teams play, lack of a return game. But the other part of it was they didn't get many quick changes from turnovers from the defense. But tonight that hasn't been the case, and they've been able to capitalize on it. Their defense giving an offense feels that they could work with.
2 turnovers tonight forced by Georgia. Just 11 turnovers so far this year caused by Georgia, but this is textbook here by Harvey Clemens.
Well, these guys practice it. They attack the football when they can. Harvey Clemens has had a big night coming up, and that's a big hole running behind the left side of Georgia's offensive front. Dallas Lee, Canarius Gates, a couple of seniors, a couple of mainstays on an offense that has seen a lot of players in and out, and now including the former starting quarterback in Aaron Murray, who I don't know that we'll see again the rest of this season, maybe not even next week. But there's some stars of the future, Josh Harvey Clemens being one of them on the defensive unit.
4 tackles, 2 for loss, 1 forced fumble, and of course a fumble recovery. Both Georgia drives this half have started in Kentucky territory, and both have resulted in a touchdown. It's 49-10. Javis Blue to return for Kentucky. He'll take a knee. SEC news and notes. Georgia Southern defeating Florida in the Swamp 26-20. 429 rushing yards, not 1 passing yard, and they're able to beat the Gators.
And you look at that offense for Georgia Southern, it's an option offense. They bite the ankles of the defensive linemen. Florida unwilling to take that type of proposition.
Is Johnny Manziel out of the Heisman race now, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think he's done. And I think tonight was this final stage to really be able to get something done, even with Missouri coming next week.
And Missouri leads Ole Miss. James Franklin making his return in full to that Missouri offense tonight. Here's a completion to Blue. Big yardage out to midfield. And now penalty flags rain down. It's a 26-yard pass play for Blue. Damian Swan, maybe some unsportsmanlike conduct here.
Damian Swan, he was expected to be the strength of the secondary, and he ends up taking him down well into the boundary.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 5. 15 yards penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Probably a little bit of frustration from Damian Swan, but hasn't had the season I think that many expected, and what has been somewhat of a problematic secondary. An unnecessary play there. You gotta have some awareness and know that you're out of bounds.
Swan had 4 interceptions last year, including 2 in the bowl game, none this year. Maybe a bit of a disappointment for Swan. Smith complete. Tyler Robinson, the tight end. 4th-year tight end, pulls it in to the 14-yard line. And here is Kentucky knocking on the door, down 39 points.
As we're watching this, Clay, I can't say that Maxwell Smith hasn't played relatively well, given the fact that he hasn't had many snaps since that Mississippi State game.
He's 7 of 11 for 82 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Looking to throw again. Pressure coming off the edge, and he's sacked. A loss of 5. There's Garrison Smith, the senior, his final home game.
And once again, the pressure getting to Maxwell Smith. See again, Georgia just bringing 4. Smith had to pull the ball down. Wasn't able to deliver it downfield. And once again, a lot of it, I think, is owing to the coverage.
Third Georgia sack tonight. Second in the SEC behind Missouri in total sacks. They have 31 on the year. Dyshawn Mobley has a 69-yard touchdown run already tonight. He takes it inside the 10, a gain of 10. There is Smith again on the tackle. So now 3rd down and about 5.
Once again, able to break a tackle as well. Mauro Herrera was able to get downfield, was in the backfield, could have made the tackle for a loss, and instead, once again, Mobley, saw Sanders, we've seen some second efforts, able to pick up the additional yardage to get it to third and manageable.
They can pick up the first down at the 4. Mobley. He will not get there. A yard, maybe 2 short. Wilson and Herrera, the 2 run stoppers at linebacker, bring him down. So now, what is Mark Stoops going to do?
He goes for it. I mean, look at you. You're in a 39-point game. You're down here with a scoring opportunity on the 6-yard line. And it's not like he hasn't demonstrated a willingness to go for it on 4th down. It was 4th and inches before. But this has been Kentucky's MO all season. And frankly, Maxwell Smith isn't a runner, but he's done a good job of throwing the football. And there's some confusion for Georgia on defense from a personnel standpoint, having a hard time lining up.
And now Smith wants a timeout as Kentucky needs to talk things over. Confusion on both sidelines.
Timeout, Kentucky. Their first charge timeout in the second half.
And Mark Stoops, the first-year head coach for the Wildcats, he wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Well, yes, he does. And, this is a fire drill. I mean, you're looking at guys, they're trying to communicate. Kentucky's got guys running off the field. And you see them as they substitute in. Now Georgia wants to substitute in. And what Stoops, I think, is saying is, look, either we're ready to run the football. See, Maxwell Smith is saying, I want to run a play.
And the umpire wouldn't get off the ball. And I think that's what Mark Stoops is upset about.
The umpire is allowing the defense an opportunity to substitute. You see Kentucky substitute when you're at the line of scrimmage. If they substitute to the line, you got to afford the defense the same opportunity.
You can see Smith is upset.
What he's saying is it's the play clock. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't run a play with the umpire standing over the ball.
Yeah, and the play clock was down to about 3. And he knew he wasn't going to have time to get the play off. And the umpire finally stepped away. So 4th and 2. Penalty flag. This looks like motion on the right side of the Kentucky line.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 70, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Jordan Swindle, the right tackle for the Wildcats.
Jordan Swindle, you see him there, see him just flinching just a little bit. They're heading towards the end zone. It's not a very full stands down there, but it was loud enough. We've seen the crowd noise impact Kentucky once before tonight when they were having difficulty making the change of a play at the line of scrimmage. That time cost them 5 yards. They're still going for it, of course. You look at the scoreboard, it makes sense that 3 points doesn't help you enough.
Blitz. Smith hit. Falls out. Georgia's got it. Josh Harvey Clemens recovers, and Leonard Floyd popped it out. 3rd Kentucky turnover tonight.
Well, you're watching this Georgia defense. This is perhaps a glimpse of the future. Watch Leonard Floyd, great get off. He's able to get a step on Miller. He just hatchets that ball out. You see Ray Drews there. Jordan Jenkins is also in the backfield. Look at Coach Grantham. He recognizes the talent that he's got in this defense. He's just got to figure out a way to get them to play more consistently.
Brendan Douglas, good run. It's going to be close to a first down for Douglas, the true freshman running back. And Harvey Clemens, what a night for him.
You've seen him come up and run support. He's laid some big hits. He's pretty solid in coverage, and he's been around the football either causing turnovers or jumping on loose balls.
Second drive in a row for Kentucky that ends in a fumble. Now they're going to take a measurement here on Douglas's run. 6:28 to go here in the third. 49-10 Georgia. Couple inches short. Yeah, Georgia hasn't had a lot of blowout games this year. 6 games, in fact, decided by 5 or fewer. But right now, not only are the Bulldogs in control, but they may be on their way to a big blowout here on senior night.
It'll be a good one, too. Of course, somewhat bittersweet knowing that they're without Murray. You see big number 48 in there on the lineup, Quavon Hicks. They had to run behind him if they don't hand him the football in short yardage. You expect a heavy inside run with Hicks leading Brendan Douglas into the line of scrimmage here.
It is Douglas behind Hicks, first down. Georgia moving the chains. Let's get a Baylor-Oklahoma State update with Matt.
Thank you, Clay. In Stillwater, it is all Oklahoma State so far. Clint Chelf to Charlie Moore. Chelf's 11 of 11, 232 yards passing. Baylor has yet to score. Last time they were held scoreless in the first half 2 seasons ago at Oklahoma State. Clay.
Baylor averages 61 points per game and 685 yards of total offense, and they are being shut out so far. How about that?
They're starting to pile up some injuries, too, though, and you wonder if it's taking its toll.
Douglas out to the 38-yard line, second down coming up for the Bulldogs. Best one-loss team in the FBS. A lot of people saying that Missouri could be in there in that conversation.
Well, I'll tell you what, that Auburn team, they're going to get a chance to prove just how good they are as a one-loss team next week. They're sitting at home this week. They've got the Iron Bowl. Alabama took on Chattanooga today. But a very surprising Auburn team, certainly a surprising Missouri team as well.
Clemson won again today, too, against a FCS opponent. This is going to be a false start against the Dogs.
Prior to the snap, false start, 88 offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
I think a lot of people thought that Baylor was going to take care of business tonight, and they still might come back and do that. And that if they did win, no matter how close the game was, that they'd automatically jump Ohio State in the next BCS poll.
And they would have. I mean, it's that close. It was just a matter of time. Oklahoma State would have been a quality enough victory.
Douglas to the 40, third down coming up as Smith makes the stop.
So that, I think, was an inevitability. And, of course, we've seen this out of Baylor before where they take a little bit of time to spool up. It's not like they come running out of the locker room and they're just ringing up points. And we saw that versus a Kansas team. We saw this firsthand. We saw it the week prior versus Iowa State.
A penalty flag. Arthur Lynch moved.
And then he got assaulted by a pass. Hudson Mason zipped one right at him. I don't think he was expecting it.
Offside, defense, number 2. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Mason realized he had a free play when Bud Dupree jumps. You see that? And they snap the ball while he's in the neutral zone. Arthur Lynch is looking downfield and got ear hold.
First and 10 after the penalty. On the 45-yard line, Hudson Mason to throw. Man wide open, and he couldn't connect with Rhett McGowan. McGowan tonight, 6 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown, but that one was off the mark. Second down.
Well, we see this. We mentioned Mason. When he's gotten his snaps, they've They've looked good, but it's not like he's been able to ever get into much of a rhythm.
Play fake, sprinting out. Mason throws back across his body and hits McGowan for the sliding catch at the 36-yard line, a gain of 19.
Of course, that was certainly good playmaking ability from Hudson Mason, and we've seen him demonstrate an ability to throw on the run. That's pretty good arm strength, incidentally, rolling to your right and throwing across your body back to your left.
Again, Mason coming into the game late in the first half after Aaron Murray left the game with an apparent knee injury. He is done for the night. J.J. Green, wow, lowers his shoulder. A powerful run close to another Georgia first down. Here is the injury to Aaron Murray tonight.
That's the one that ended up sending Murray out of the game. As you see, his left leg got tweaked just a little bit. We'll not see him again tonight.
Wooten, the catch, first down, and he's out at the 19-yard line. Now, we probably would have seen some Hudson Mason anyway. On senior night, it was likely that Aaron Murray was going to play maybe 3 quarters, come out of the game, get a nice round of applause from the crowd here, and then Mason would have come in. This is not how Georgia had it planned, however.
No, the way it started, it was storybook. It was everything that you probably ever want if you're a quarterback, senior, trying to end your career at home with a bang. And unfortunately, what you hope is that you end it with a pop, a ligament or something, with the way that knee injury looked when he got twisted around.
Mason sets, throws, another first down. This is Kenneth Towns. His first catch of the night. First down, goal to go inside the 5. I like what I'm seeing from this young Mason quarterback.
And the coaches have as well. In fact, you know, Coach Rick mentioned it. He's prepared well. The only challenge has been that he's been playing behind what has proven to be the best passer in SEC history in Aaron Murray. And so there's been very little upward mobility. It's not the first time it's been that way at Georgia. Incidentally, and with David Green in front of a DJ Shockley, we've seen this scenario before.
Douglas, touchdown Dogs. Another touchdown for Georgia off of a turnover. 10 plays, 78 yards in 4:38. Brendan Douglas, the true freshman, takes it in. Morgan, the extra point. It's 56-10. All Georgia on senior night, but the redshirt junior, Hudson Mason, showing what he can do, leading another Georgia scoring drive.
College Football Daily, weekdays at 1 on ESPNU.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
With Aaron Murray injured in the first half, Hudson Mason has engineered 4 Georgia touchdown drives. It's 56-10. It's not often you see a player redshirt after a sophomore season, but that's the case for Hudson Mason. Redshirt junior. He sat out last year. He has 1 year remaining after this one.
You know, and that speaks to the trust that the coaching staff had, not only in Murray's performance, but his durability. And of course, they mentioned if he had gone down late in the season or even in the SEC championship game, Mason was going to go into the game. He would have burned that red shirt. But because Murray was able to go wire to wire, he was able to get that 1 year to separate himself from Murray, knowing that Murray might come back and afford him an opportunity to actually start at quarterback.
Again, we don't know the severity of that knee injury to Aaron Murray. We've talked about his toughness. We've seen him get up many times in his 4-year career from injuries. It certainly looked much worse than what we saw tonight. Now, whether or not he comes back for next week, we will not know until the Georgia Tech game gets underway in Atlanta. 2:14 to go here in the third quarter. Maxwell Smith throws. It's complete. Here to Javis Blue, and he's got the first down. Twisted down at the 38-yard line. No national title, no SEC title, no Heisman Trophy for Aaron Murray, but certainly great statistics. What do you think the legacy of Aaron Murray will be here at Georgia?
Well, I think he's certainly going to be respected. There's no doubt about that. I think you could hear the reception from the fans here tonight, that they appreciate the fact that he gave it one more shot. He very easily could have left for the NFL a season ago, and he wanted to compete for a championship. It just wasn't meant to be, and certainly this season has not unfolded the way he intended, and even tonight didn't unfold the way he intended.
Nice Sean Mobley with a short pickup. Vince Dooley, the legendary Georgia coach on Aaron Murray, should be obvious to everyone that based on the records he has set, no one has ever enjoyed a more productive career in the SEC. He is a leader extraordinaire in all facets of college life. I believe he'll relish the opportunity to start college all over and do it again. We certainly know he loves Georgia, the state. He wants to raise a family here. He's a Florida native, but has fallen in love with Athens and the entire state. Deep pass, tipped and incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Jordan Ahmiller. And it'll be third down.
Quincy Mauger able to get his hand up there and deter the reception. You know, Murray mentioned he's a Tampa kid, wasn't a college fan. Didn't really know much about Georgia football until the '07 Sugar Bowl. He found himself, he was probably more of a Gator, not very much a dog. But he's certainly able to accomplish quite a bit, and part of that is a function of the toughness, part of that's a function of the preparation, and it's hard to watch it cut short here tonight.
Fourth down, intended for Blue. Do you think that now the way the season has gone, and we don't know again what's going to happen with Aaron Murray and that knee, but do you think there's going to be some regrets for that young man on deciding to come back for his senior year?
I don't think so. I think Coach Dooley hit it pretty good. He said that, you know, the guy's really enjoyed his college career, and I don't doubt that were it not for those pesky eligibility rules, he'd probably squeeze in another 4 years if he could. You know, he was in Athens for 5 years with a redshirt season, but you know, eventually you do have to move on. A.J. Green thinks he can move on to the pros. Certainly we've seen tonight that his heir apparent and Hudson Mason appears to be very capable.
Reggie Davis muffed a punt earlier in this game, handles this one, but is pulled down at the 14-yard line. It's a 47-yard kick for Foster. This was pregame on senior night. A great reception when his name was announced. They named all 28 seniors. They all came out, met their parents on the field, and when Murray's name was announced, he was the last one introduced. A tremendous roar that they probably heard in Atlanta.
And you can see, you know, he was moved. You know, that's not a guy that says, you know, I regret being here. That's the face of a guy, I think, that felt pretty fulfilled. He certainly didn't anticipate leaving the game early with injury. You tell he's appreciated the opportunity to play for this university.
It's a good hard run for J.J. Green. For 3.5 games, Green and Douglas served as the main running back combo when Gurley was hurt, and of course Keith Marshall went out. Those guys did a nice job for true freshmen. And we're seeing him get a lot of work here now in this game that's well in hand. Gurley on the sideline. 56-10. That's going to do it for the third quarter. Hudson Mason. He's running the offense now that Aaron Murray is done for the night with an apparent knee injury. Back in Athens in a moment. Welcome back to the SEC on ESPN from Athens, Georgia. Sanford Stadium. Really good crowd tonight. On a pleasant night weather-wise, too. He's Matt Stinchcomb. I'm Clay Matvick. Don Davenport down on the field. Thanks to the seniors here from the crowd. 28 playing their final home game. It's 56-10. Aaron Murray injured his knee in the first half. He is done. Hudson Mason, redshirt junior, has played well. In place of Murray, this is a penalty against the Dogs.
False start, 78, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Watts Dantzler.
Please reset the game clock to 15 minutes.
Junior O-lineman. Taco Bell game track, 504 yards of total offense for Georgia. Murray threw 4 touchdown passes before leaving the game. Todd Gurley, a couple of touchdown catches. Mason, 136 through the air and a touchdown pass of his own. He'll dump it off here to J.J. Green. And gets close to the first down. In fact, he has it after the catch. Back to that game track. And we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, Stinch. Can Georgia put that Auburn loss, which was so deflating, behind them? And they've done that tonight.
No question. Yeah, they came out roaring straight out of the locker room, ready to play football, both sides of the ball. Offensively, went right down the football field after they were afforded some of the best field position off a kickoff return. And they were able to gain and pile up momentum from there. And Hudson Mason, in relief of Murray's, been able to continue it.
Another flag.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 54 offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Second illegal procedure penalty on the Georgia O-line on this series.
Well, they've substituted some new faces up front. You know, Dallas Lee's a senior. He's been replaced by Brandon Kublanow, and now, prior to that, Watts Dantzler's in there for Chris Burnett. They're getting some guys some reps in this game. The scoreboards in hand. They're going backwards.
J.J. Green run right behind that line for a handful. Todd Gurley, we talked about his receiving and how that has really become an added element of his game.
Pretty good runner still, though, huh? I mean, when you look at what he's been able to do, but if you can make it yourself an additional threat as a pass receiver out of the backfield, if you can pass protect, there's a lot more to being a running back than just being a ball carrier.
This is Chris Conley making his way out close to the 30-yard line, a pickup of 5. Gurley, 5 catches for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns tonight, plus his 77 yards on the ground.
You see the numbers, the fact that you can participate in both phases that effectively makes you that much more of a valuable asset to any offense, for that matter. One time tonight we saw in pass protection he came up a little bit short. Otherwise, that's a running back that just about any offense in the country would want to have.
Mason all time to throw, and it's a perfect pass to the 44-yard line. Hugh Williams, the backup to Arthur Lynch at tight end, because Jay Rome is out for the rest of the regular season with a foot injury. He's getting some work. He hauls it in for a 28-yard first down.
You know, Clay, I mentioned this, that the offensive line, we talked about the defensive end matchup versus this Georgia offensive front. And by and large, even with largely replacement players, backup guys in there, they've done a good job of protecting the quarterback. Of course, they did get to Murray the one time that led to the injury.
Douglas pulls ahead. It's going to be close to another Georgia first down. College basketball doubleheader tomorrow. First at 4:30, Harvard, Colorado. Vermont, number 6 Duke at 6:30 on the U. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. Another first down for Georgia. Reggie Davis goes in motion, but they hand it off to Douglas. Look at a couple. So after that 12-2 season last year, Matt, Georgia was a favorite to win the SEC East, but the injuries for Mark Richt's team and the bad luck, which really manifested itself last week in the Auburn game. It's been the story of 2013. And you know, it's hard to stay positive when things don't go your way, but Georgia has done a pretty good job of that. We've seen that tonight. After the heartbreak last week, they pulled themselves together this week and put on a good show here on senior night.
Yeah, a microcosm of the season. You know, you look at it, you can either sit around and lick your wounds, or you get suited up and get ready to play in the next ballgame. That's the best medicine, to come out and play well.
Trying to hit Williams, the tight end, again. That lands incomplete. 3rd down and 9. Eric Dixon, who missed the first half, was a first half suspension stemming from that targeting foul last week in the Vandy game. He was in on the coverage.
That's something else, Clay. He came into the game. We're talking about Murray. He's chasing records. Can Georgia come in and assert themselves? You know, Kentucky, they were undermanned, to be sure. Yeah. They recognize they have to improve the talent on their roster, but even then, the starters that they would have otherwise intended not available tonight, either due to suspension or injury.
Douglas not get the first down, but he gets to the 28-yard line. We'll see if the offense stays on the field. 4th down here for the Dogs, and they will go for it. Mark Stoops is doing a great job on the recruiting trail. I think it's only a matter of time here before Kentucky is competitive once again, as they were not that many years ago under head coach Rich Brooks.
Well, incidentally, they recruit the state of Georgia very heavily. A lot of guys on that roster. They've had a great deal of success. They don't always are able to sign completed products, you know, the finished goods, but guys that can develop into quality players.
They will convert complete to Davis as he gets to the 18-yard line. Davis, the rookie out of Tallahassee.
And now, not just guys up front, but also out wide. Reggie Davis, a guy tonight, muffed a punt, but a guy that they want to get more and more incorporated. They want to make sure that he's got some game experience because of his speed and ability to stretch a defense.
11th play of the drive. Green. Good run. Give him 9. Right now, ESPN.com is projecting that it'll be the Gator Bowl on January 1st for these Georgia Bulldogs.
Saw some Chick-fil-A Bowl officials, but it looks to me like that's certainly the most likely destination. That's the one that everybody's been pointing towards. The start of the season certainly had their sights aimed higher, but they've had to battle through so much. I'm sure bowl eligibility is something they're pleased with.
And Green's got the first down. Yeah, because the expectations were so high. This season stings for Bulldogs fans, for Mark Richt. Do you expect that Richt will make any changes in the coaching staff this offseason?
You know, when you look at the roster and you look at what could have been were it not for some injuries, you look at what they're losing, I don't necessarily think that would be something they'd want to do. You know, knowing that why disrupt what could be a great season a year from now.
1st and goal, pass to the end zone intended for Towns. That lands incomplete.
You take a look at defense that basically loses one player in Garrison Smith, who's played admirably this year, a senior. Guy didn't experience a whole lot of wins when he was in high school, came to Georgia and was able to pile up quite a few. He's a captain. But otherwise, the defense is going to be back. And that's an area that they certainly wanted to be better, and they've shown flashes of being a very good unit. We've seen tonight the building blocks for that side of the ball.
Mason fakes the handoff, now off his back foot, lobs it to no one in particular. 3rd and goal.
Smart decision by Hudson Mason. Throw the football away, knowing that you've got 2 more downs to work with. When you think about the defense going back, guys like a Leonard Floyd, who's about 10 or 15 pounds away from being one heck of a handful for some poor offensive tackle.
He's already big, and they want him to beef up to, what, 250 or so?
Well, what's crazy is, Josh Harvey Clemens is about, 10 pounds lighter than him and an inch taller. And he's playing in the secondary and at the nickel hybrid linebacker position.
Here comes the blitz, snap over the head of Mason, and he recovers at the 25. And now 4th and goal from the 25 for Georgia. That snap went right over Mason's head, a loss of 18.
Well, I mentioned that most everybody is out on the offensive front. Dallas Lee's not. He slid over to center. And he's usually at the left guard position. And, you know, that one, maybe had a little too much sticky on the hands because that one sailed well over the quarterback's head.
First attempt tonight for Morgan. This is from 41. Got it. 59-10 Georgia, under 8 to play.
I can remember being real hyped up, and my dad, you know, this is the year.
I knew that we were going to get hit.
I'm the one that is going to be able to either make this happen or fail trying.
E60 presents Miracle at Michigan, Wednesday on ESPNU.
ESPNU College Football Primetime is presented by 5-Hour Energy. Try the new sour apple flavored extra strength 5-Hour Energy shots in the camouflage bottle. And in part by the Discover It card. It's a game changer.
BCS Countdown presented by Discover Card. Tomorrow at 8:30 on ESPN, then at 9. The encore presentation on the U. Lot to talk about, too. Right now, Oklahoma State leading Baylor 14-3 at the half. If that game continues to go that way and Baylor gets knocked off, could we see Auburn or Missouri from the SEC move into that number 4 spot? Because we assume Ohio State will go to 3.
Yeah, I think Ohio State slides right up into the vacated. Ohio State will stay at 3. And then we'll see, I think, 2 SEC teams slide up into the vacated spots created by Oregon and maybe Baylor.
Georgia's season has been marred by bad luck. First game of the year against Clemson, Malcolm Mitchell injured his right knee celebrating Todd Gurley's touchdown. The receiver done for the year. October 5th, they lost 4 players to injury during that overtime win against Tennessee. Michael Bennett, Justin Scott Wesley, both left the game with knee injuries. Scott Wesley done for the year. Then last week, bad bounce. The Hail Mary lands in Ricardo Lewis's hands. Look at the frustration on the Georgia sidelines. And then it carries over into tonight. It's supposed to be a celebration of Aaron Murray's career here at Georgia on senior night. And he's helped off the field with a knee injury. We have not seen him here in the second half. And we don't know if we'll see him the rest of the Georgia season.
The severity of the injury unknown, but you'd have to think it has to be relatively significant given the fact that that's a guy that's played through a good bit of pain and found ways to get back onto the practice field. One of the few guys that's been able to practice all season.
Preseason AP top 10. Georgia were ranked 5th. See, Florida, they were ranked 10th. How bad is their season? When you talk about today, they lose to Georgia Southern.
They got a South Carolina team that's paying close attention to a Missouri-Ole Miss game. Missouri's up 2 touchdowns on Ole Miss, 24-10 with 1 game to play. And if they drop to A&M, South Carolina wins the division. Otherwise, it's the Missouri Tigers.
Mobley trying to bounce to the outside. He's tripped up from behind. Bigger surprise in the SEC this year, Auburn or Missouri?
I got to tell you, both of those stories are so remarkable. You know, to me, it would have to be Auburn just because of how historically bad they were a season ago. Yeah. Just completely inept in every possible way. Should have lost to Louisiana Monroe a year ago.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 96 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's Mike Thornton, the nose tackle. And he is off the field now.
Yeah, you know, your guy getting in there, giving a guy some reps, comes out there, makes a selfish penalty, gets right back onto the sideline. Hurt your team. And make sure that you got to maintain your composure when you get out there. It's not just about playing, none of that extracurricular activity stuff.
Smith on first down. Mobley. We'll get 4 or 5. SEC East. Missouri 5-1. Leading right now 24-10 at Ole Miss late in the third quarter. South Carolina hoping for a Missouri loss tonight, because if that's the case, the Gamecocks have the head-to-head tiebreaker with the Tigers, and they would represent the SEC East in Atlanta.
What about a gutty performance by a quarterback? What about Connor Shaw for South Carolina this year? He comes in off the bench, injured, sick that week before Missouri. Begs Steve Spurrier to get in the lineup and leads his team to an overtime victory.
Mobley again. He'll lose a yard or 2 on this play. Josh Dawson, the defensive end, with the tackle. Next week, big games in the SEC. Again, Missouri in a need to get by another tough test. Texas A&M next week. And then how about the clash in the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn? Again, because of what happened last year for the Tigers. Who would have thought that this year would come down to that game?
The clash. You know, who would have thought the Iron Bowl, that anyone would have paid any attention? The season end with a whimper. And Alabama just crushing Auburn. Not the case. And to your point earlier, Auburn, maybe one of the best stories in college football this season.
3rd and 6. First down, Kentucky. They have not had many of those here tonight. Just their 9th first down as Jeff Badette hauls it in for a 23-yard pickup. Washington, Oregon State, 10:30 Eastern on ESPN2. That's about 15 minutes from now.
How about the Pac-12 race? Boy, that thing swapped back and forth. You see Oregon going down, Stanford able to clinch the North Division, and ASU thumping UCLA. I think most folks would have thought that the Bruins would have represented the South the way USC started the season, and then Arizona State and Todd Graham able to work their way to a division championship.
Play fake. Smith has a man. It's Javis Blue. Touchdown, Kentucky. 30-yard touchdown pass from Smith to Blue, his 3rd TD catch of the year. 7th touchdown pass for Smith. And Kentucky gets in the end zone here in the 4th quarter.
You see Maxwell Smith in this game, when he's been given time to throw, he's thrown the ball relatively well. And, you know, given what Coach Burrell wants to do, give that kid a scholarship. Man.
That's not a Kentucky touchdown, Bats. I don't think he's even paying attention. He's just showing off for his folks.
He likes his get up. Nice outfit, man.
Mansour with the extra point.
He's still working it. He's entertaining the
Let's
Kentucky
not go
fans.
to commercial. I want to see this. So does everybody at home.
College Football Daily, weekdays at 1 on ESPNU.
Welcome back. Of course, senior night here at Georgia. Quarterback Aaron Murray was helped off of the field. New information now on that left knee injury. He has left the stadium. They took him to St. Mary's Hospital. That's about 1 mile from here. He is undergoing an MRI to determine the extent of that left knee injury. So Aaron Murray at St. Mary's Hospital right now, about 1 mile from here at the stadium. He is undergoing an MRI, guys.
Okay, Don, thank you. Hudson Mason, the backup, played well tonight in Aaron Murray's stead, and now the 3rd string quarterback, Fatone Bauta, getting some reps here for the Georgia Bulldogs. He hands off. That's Brandon Harton on the carry, a gain of 9. And David Green, one of our SEC greats, brought to you by Regions Bank. Next stop on the Regions Bank SEC Greats Tour, December 6th and 7th in Atlanta. David Green, one of your buddies.
Yeah, old Green, he's a good guy. I'll tell you what, won a couple of games, the winningest quarterback in SEC history. He's seen his records eclipsed by Aaron Murray.
And what he says on Aaron, who he has great respect for, I think Murray will go down as one of the most beloved dogs of all time, not just because he leaves the university with all the SEC passing records, but because of the way he conducted himself on and off the field all 5 years. Leadership, toughness, academics, he took those very seriously, and he was gracious to the fans. Fatone Bauta under center. No, that's number 2. Excuse me. They're shuffling him in there pretty fast right now. Parker Welch, the 4th Georgia quarterback here tonight.
I think they're just rotating snaps. So Fatone Bauta comes in. Here in a minute, I think they're going to let Chris Burnett take a few snaps. Everybody gets a little piece of the pie as they wind this game down. Georgia able to pick up a 7th victory. But as we've noted here tonight, as sweet as it's been and as well as they played the defensive side of the ball, I think what will ultimately be the story is Aaron Murray, his status. What will it look like next week in a rivalry game versus Georgia Tech? And will he even be available for a bowl game?
3rd down here. Hey, partner, I want to say on behalf of the entire crew, I know it's been a tough week for you and your family. You lost your dad earlier this week, and we've been thinking about you this week, and we appreciate you being here tonight.
I appreciate that, buddy.
I know your dad, Gary, was a big Georgia fan.
Yeah, he was. He would probably be thrilled with this one.
This is Bauta, 1st down to the 40-yard line. Gain of 15. This is the most play he has had this year. He got in sparingly in that Appalachian State game, but he's just handing off in that one. He picks up the 1st down. A minute to go. Georgia is going to go to 7-4, 5-3 in the SEC. And Kentucky will need to win against Tennessee next week to avoid going winless for the 2nd straight year in the SEC. Player of the game, presented by Wrangler. He is our 5-star player of the game, Josh Harvey Clemens.
You know, after the game last week, he was involved with the assist to Ricardo Lewis, the receiver for Auburn, ended up being the game winner. He bounced back and played really well. That's a young football player that they're expecting big things from, and you could see it tonight where he made his presence felt, not only in run support, forcing turnovers, recovering balls. He's a guy they're going to be able to build this defense around going forward.
28 seniors have played their final game at Sanford Stadium. Mark Richt's team gets its 7th win of the year, 59-17 over Kentucky. But the status of Aaron Murray, their star quarterback, is in question for next week at Georgia Tech and the bowl game.
Yeah, that's what's going to overshadow this ball game. You see a defense that generated turnovers and a backup quarterback that stepped in ably.
Kentucky's losing streak in the SEC is 15. The final, 59-17. Now to the studio.